Show who you are. Good riddance. Is your kid in bid the forbidden? As it was written, you overbidding. With the heathens, karma is a bitch, so how you living? Pray for my enemies, unforgiving. Cast the pearls on hog moms and chitlin'. If it's too hot, get your ass out the kitchen. Finger licking good, good looking. Stewing in the stew, I'm cooking. You psyched out, paranoid and shookin'. Shook the table, fades I'm booking. Get prepared for this ass whooping. Listen to the words being spoken. You were talking, I'm awake and woken. While I'm spitting this, got your spit, got choking. Era up, a glimpse in my world, eyes shut open. Parallel in my mind, I'm chosen. Reverse the time, heart frozen. Antarctica, cold as ice. Casting lots, rolling dice. Mean as nails, I'm nothing nice. They persecuted me like they rejected Christ. All right. Welcome to Mouth Off with Meika. I got a special guest here for y'all today. I've been waiting for this interview for so long. I've been trying to get this brother on here. So you guys got to brace yourself. And let me introduce Coach Ahki to the stage. Hello, Coach Ahki. How you doing today?
Shalom. How you doing today, my family? How are you?
I'm good. I'm so grateful that you finally graced this stage because people need to hear the stuff you got. You know, it's like the education and the knowledge is it's unmatched. You know what I mean? So I want you to start off by giving us a little background about yourself and let us know what
Well,
you
first
come.
of all,
Go ahead.
repeat the last thing. You kind of broke up there.
Oh no, just give us a little background about yourself.
A little background about myself. Of course, I grew up in the Los Angeles area, predominantly Long Beach, but grew up all around LA. Grew up just like everybody else in our environment. Involved in gang streets and just all that crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Landed myself in prison, landed myself in a bunch of trouble growing up. And as I got older, I just started realizing that, the way of life that we were living was dysfunctional. So I started asking a lot of questions. Growing up, I was raised in religion, organized religion. So I had knowledge of the Bible. So as I started seeking other information outside of what I call the scriptures, because even that term Bible, that's a whole nother story I'm not gonna get into. But I had knowledge of the scriptures, and as I started seeking higher understanding and knowledge and wisdom and all of these things, and I started praying because I had some traumatic experiences that was like, yeah, if I don't change now, I'm definitely gonna die. And the Most High even visited me and let me know, like, yeah, I'm covering you, but man, it's not it's not looking good for you right now. So when I decided to make that change, I was taken on a journey, and it led me back to the scriptures. So, you know, I consider myself, well, I ain't gonna say I consider myself, I am, a servant and a child of the Most High Yah. And that's first and foremost. But outside of that, I'm in the area of fitness, wellness, holistic wellness, mind, body, soul, spirit, all of it, not just physical wellness. So that's pretty much where I am. And I got a heart for, helping my people, giving back to my people however I can, whether it's through knowledge, information, whether it's through my service, my servitude, whatever it is. That's just my heart.
Mm-hmm. So if y'all don't know, this is my family. I love them dearly. So we come from the same tree. So we got that knowledge for y'all. But anyways,
Yes, yes.
um, tell us like, would you call it the truth? Like the Israelite doctrine. Do you think that's the truth, or is there some things that need to be explored that we have not explored yet?
I would say it's coming into the knowledge of truth because it is
Mhm.
truth. You know what I mean? It's Yah's word, is truth. I can't really go around that. Truth is truth. But however, what I've seen in this so-called awakening is that so many of us come into the knowledge of truth
Mhm.
and we just plateau. We stop there. We get
Mhm.
so hell bent on, you know what I mean, just our own logic and our own understanding even then, and we get prideful. Honestly, we get prideful because we come into the knowledge of truth and we learn a few things, and we get very prideful, especially when we find out who we are. And what I believe is that we all individually, what's of a truth is that we don't go on that journey to really deal with the matters of the heart, to really heal from traumas and all these different things. It's kind of like you read something, you come into the knowledge of truth, and then you automatically think that you're righteous. We automatically think that we're righteous because now we know the information. And yeah, we may keep feast days, and we may keep Shabbats, and we may, some of us, we wear our zeets, tassels, whatever it is. That doesn't count for our righteousness, because the majority of the time our hearts still be wicked. Our hearts still be wicked. I always tell people like this when it comes to information. You can follow any law or commandment, but like if two people walk in a store and they both don't steal, does that make both of them righteous? Does that make both of them not thieves? No, one person only might not have stolen something because he know it's against the law. So if he steal, he's going to go to jail. But if it was given a chance, and if it wasn't against the law, he would steal. It's still on his mind, but he like, I can't.
We lost him. We come on back when you can. Because I was just thinking like, dang, then all of us is thieves. I know sometimes you be looking at stuff and you want to take it out the stove. I mean, we've all had these moments. I'm just being honest. Like, dang, I can buy this, but my pockets is flat. So let me ask you this, though, when it comes to stealing, because you got me thinking, like, what if somebody is hungry and they don't got no money to feed themselves and they stole some food? Is that them being a thief, or is that them trying to survive?
We always got to check the matters of the heart, because like I said in the beginning, we all have them thoughts, but eventually those thoughts go away. So you have the person that's like, I'm gonna do what I need to do to eat by any means necessary. Now a person who has the law in his heart, he's gonna be like, you know what, I'm hungry, and I'm gonna have faith and trust in my Father to provide food for me. You see what I'm saying? I don't know how it's gonna come, but it's gonna come. Next thing you know, once they exercise that faith, here comes a stranger. Hey man, it was on my heart to give you this food. You see what I'm saying? So I say that to say, to the blind eye, or to just the average person, it might, okay, he was doing whatever he had to do to survive, and that might very well be so, but it was still in his heart to steal. You see what I'm saying? So if he'll do that for food, then ain't no telling what else he would do with food. He might kill. He might do anything that's immoral for food. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it still doesn't, just because he was hungry or starving and he needed to eat, it still doesn't justify his action.
Can you tell us, when did you come into the truth, and how did you come into the truth?
Well, it's something like, I came into the information. That's why I say it's the difference between information and the actual. I came into the information of truth years ago. And it kind of came across, and I was like, and it was one of those things where I knew the information, but I wasn't exercising anything. I didn't too much. I was in the streets running around doing what I wanted to do. And it was maybe like a couple years ago, I say, prior to the pandemic, when I really started really diving back into the scriptures myself. And at the time, me and my wife was actually going to church. We was going to a Christian church, and we more so was going because it was the aesthetics of where we were at in our journey. It just looked good because, we had our own business and we was this couple or whatnot. So we was like, hey, just like everybody else, let's go into the church. But I also wanted to have a deeper understanding because I was back in my scripture. So I was like, maybe I can learn something. As I was there, I really didn't see no spiritual, I didn't see no growth, period. I just seen the same people just dead. Like the church was so dead, every single one that I stepped into, and nobody was looking set apart. And I'm like, and when I say set apart, I'm not talking about running around dressed a certain way and all that. I'm saying like spiritually set apart, how they carried themselves, their demeanor, their conduct of life. And I was like, man, this is just like the rest of the world. I feel like I'm in a club every Sunday. So as the pandemic hit, I've said a prayer. I said a very specific prayer to the Father that I wanted to know absolute truth. And he had me step down from the church at the time. I was mentoring kids and all that. he had me leave everything alone. I'm talking about my business. I stepped down from my business. I stepped down from my career. I stepped down from everything that I was doing during that time. And I didn't know how I was going to even
You're breaking up.
provide.
Coach,
So for
I'm
two
sorry, you
years,
broke
I had
up.
to
You said,
totally trust in him in an area of provisions and everything.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, Coach
so
Ahki, you had broke up and you said you didn't know how you was gonna do what?
I didn't know how I was going to sustain myself because he had
Mm,
me step down from everything. And I remember in that prayer, he was like, you know, if you trust in me, I will provide. So it was like 2 years where he was just providing from me. Like I'm talking about, it'd be a random day, and I'd be like, "How I'm gonna pay rent?" And somebody would just hit me, be like, "Hey, check your Cash App." It was just placed on my heart to send you some money. You know what I mean? $500, whatever the case may be. And it was like, wow, he was really providing for me during this time. But it's because I trusted and I stepped down from everything that I was doing and let go of everything and
mm,
allowed him to teach me during this 2 year period of time. I'm talking about deep in the scripts. I'm talking about I'm spending my days praying, meditating, sitting silent with him, fasting, just on a heightened level to where he was just giving me download after download and also dealing with me with the areas of my heart, taking me through healing, a healing process, all of these things. But I had to totally disconnect from everything that I was doing, even if I thought it was, oh, this is my business, this is my career, this is what I want to do with my life. I had to literally give up my life during that period of time. And honestly, even now, so he's just now starting to restore certain things. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you're seeing a little more of me on Facebook now and seeing a little more of me here and there now and back into the fitness industry because I had left all that stuff alone.
okay. Okay. And so during this time of enlightenment, what exactly did you learn in the process? Like what was the download?
I learned a whole lot, like especially far as like that's why I say truth is the truth when it comes to us being chosen children.
Oh, you breaking up. I would suggest that you take that thing off that Wi-Fi and just use your phone internet. Can you use your phone internet? It's breaking up really bad. Coach Aki.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Did you take it off the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I'm off the Wi-Fi now. I'm just on my phone.
Oh, okay, okay. Now just reiterate what you learned. You said truth. We heard you say truth. And then you cut off like that.
Okay. And heads up, you might get me cutting off in and out because honestly, Tucson just has terrible phone service. They give us,
Mm,
these 5G phones, and Tucson don't even really have no 5G towers, which is also a good thing. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, anyway, long story short, where was we at? Oh, so I've got, the information has always been there, like I said, but as I studied the information during this journey, he will take me sometime on almost outer body experiences and actually visually showing me things of the past,
mm,
present, and future. You see what I'm saying?
mm,
So during this time, I was getting a lot of revelation and a whole lot of stuff. Even now, people call me to this day and be like, "Hey, remember what you said 2 years ago? It came to pass." Or, "Man, that's crazy. You said that this was gonna happen." Like he started downloading a lot of just prophecies of certain stuff that would happen, and
mm,
also the past. So I would ask, like, is this of a truth? Like I'm reading about us being the bloodline children, you know what I'm
mm,
saying, going through slavery and all these different things. And literally after that prayer, I fell into a deep sleep. And it was like I had an outer body experience, and he actually showed me our ancestors coming out of certain lands and going into captivity. And it was like a period of time where he was just showing me these things, like from then until now. And I woke up with like tears in my eyes because it was so real. Like when
mm,
you dreaming and you like, okay, that was a dream, but when you actually dreaming and you like, no, I physically was in that realm of existence.
mm-hmm.
So yeah. So it was.
Um, no, I was gonna ask, what did you see in your in the realm like that made you? I understand that you saw the history a little bit, But did it show you like the gory stuff that was happening
It
to us?
showed it showed the gory stuff that was happening. Like it showed the gory stuff that was happening. I seen a lot of children crying. I seen the women. It was yeah, it was very yeah. It showed a lot of the gory stuff that was happening, and then just even from there, just fast forwarding into now, just showing like how all our brothers and sisters are like extremely lost out here. Like just you already know that's a whole different story when it comes to the music, when it comes to just everything, just the way we're living right now is just crazy. So it was like from there into now and how we got where we are.
Okay. Um, let me ask you this. So, from the revelation that you had, was it revealed to you that us black folks or African Americans or colors or whatever you want to call us, that we are the Israelites, the true Israelites?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what that whole dream was about because it goes back to Deuteronomy. Like that's what I was reading and I was actually inquiring on that. And that's why the whole slave trade, the way we've been treated or still being treated, all that, he showed me all that to show me that everything that I was reading was of a truth. Which I mean, honestly, I don't care what you believe in when it comes to just I'm just using this as an example. Everybody that's I'm not gonna say everybody, but majority of us, quote unquote, black, whatever you want to call it, whether you believe in Islam, whether you believe that you was the indigenous Native American, whether you believe you was Moor or whatever it is, and all that stuff come from Israelites. Like it's been history done on all that anyway. It was a time where a lot of our people scattered and we had to hide ourselves, so we started converting to a lot of other religious beliefs and systems, and that's a whole nother story. But what I'm saying is, deep inside each and every one of our hearts, we feel our spirit feels connected as children of the Most High. You see what I'm saying? And just being realistic, if you just go back history, science, it's so many ways that you can prove that we are the children of the Most High. If black man was the first man created, you know what I mean? Then who you see what I'm saying? And we all come from black, we still so-called quote unquote black man or whatever, then that just alone right there lets you know that we are children of the Most High. But now when it comes to bloodline covenant, because he did go in covenant with, you know, Abraham's offspring, when it comes to bloodline covenant, yes, like I was confirmed that we are the children of the Most High. We are the ones who our ancestors are the ones who went in covenant with the Most High Yah.
Okay. Now, in the Israelite community, right, we have these little debates or whatnot a lot. And
Too many debates.
it's too many. It's like I had to like kind of like separate a little bit and just stay focused on my
Can.
scripture and everything like that. I mean, I followed a couple of camps on YouTube, of course, everybody does that. But the Most High kept telling me, you need to open this thing. Because I done read the Bible 1,000 times, but I read the Bible in different mindsets too. And it
Absolutely.
always spoke to me no matter where I was, though. Like when I was in a secular and when I was in the world in a secular space, I read it, and then I even had a point where I was into other stuff, and I still read it, but it always spoke to me. So my question to you, I have a few questions regarding that, but the one question I have is, what do you say to people who say that the Bible is the reason why we were in slavery and in captivity?
Mm. That's pretty deep because I went through my period of time of thinking like that, right?
Mm.
But as I start studying on my own, I always recommend that people study it on their own because when you see, even just from a historical perspective, you know what I mean? If you just study it and you see the regions and where everything started and really study who these people were during that time. You know what I mean? Even outside of the Bible, go do research and see what was going on during that time frame. Who were the people in that region or whatnot? It'll let you know that it's about us, because that's another revelation I got. One, it was 2021 during Black History Month. And I was just praying. I was like, man, who are we? I was asking, yeah, I was like, who are we really? I want to know Black history, like our history. And he led me to the Bible. And I was like, wow, like I read the Bible already. Like I understand that. Like I understand that part of it. But like, no, he led me right back to the Bible. And I started doing research outside of the Bible simultaneously with the things that I was reading in there. Now, the biggest misperception that people have is that the Bible is about Christianity. Christianity is what enslaved our people. They use the Bible to teach Christianity. Christianity doesn't teach the Bible. If you line up Christianity and everything they teach and everything the scriptures actually teach, it's contradicting. It's a total opposite. They're teaching all kind of weird stuff that has nothing to do with the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? And that's what started making me ask questions. I was like, hold up. If the Bible is saying this, but Christianity is teaching this, somebody's lying. And if you go back, and everybody knows, go back and research where Christianity came from, Roman Catholic Church, all this just wickedness, you know what I mean? Blatant wickedness. So at the end of the day, I think what most people do is they tie the Bible to Christianity because Christianity uses the Bible. So when you bring up the Bible, the first thing people do, they bring up religion or Christianity, and the two have nothing to do with each other. It's just that Christians got a hold of the scriptures and they twisted them by, the language and all these other things, changing images, changing certain names or whatnot to fit their narrative. And they used it to enslave our people or to keep our people obedient during slavery.
Mm-hmm. Right. Totally agree. And I try to tell people this, like this is why I kind of steered away from Christianity, even though I was raised in the Christian church. And when I noticed that when I would go to church, right, the pastor, he'll stay stuck on one scripture and that'll be the whole sermon. And I wasn't learning nothing.
At
You
all.
know, so it was like, okay, well, and then it was like a lot of hooping and hollering, a lot of dancing and singing, and it was just off this one scripture, right? But I be having questions about stuff I be reading. And so
Absolutely.
I used to think like, I can't even, raise my hand, like, because, when you go to church, you're thinking that, you're supposed to be able to interact with the preacher, but you can't. You got to let him just talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that because I was a real like sold out Christian at one point in my life, and even when I did that, it made me very judgmental. I was a very judgmental person.
Yeah.
I was telling everybody they was going to hell. Like, you going to hell, you
Yeah.
going to hell, you going to hell too, right? And then too, what they do is they quote Paul a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and so it wasn't until I fell into the truth and I realized how to really read the scriptures and understand the scripture. So what do you have to say about that? Because Peter said that Paul's writings could be misinterpreted if they don't understand the Old Testament. I'm paraphrasing, but
Facts. And that's 100%. And if you really look at what Paul was saying, um he's not at all saying, because this is what Christians lean on, he's not at all saying that the Old Testament or the commandments are done away with, or the laws are done away with, or the written law is done away with. What Paul is saying, because he was a Pharisee at a time, if you remember, and when Paul was a Pharisee, he studied under Gamaliel. So that shows how much of a Pharisee Paul was. And if you look at the Pharisees, not only were they just on their whole mindset was just on a religious mindset, but they also were studying out of books like the Talmud and different books that was introduced during the Babylonian captivity. So they had a lot of traditions and a lot of doctrine that wasn't even of Torah. Now, what Paul was saying is when we are stuck on a written, again, it goes back to the example of the two thieves. The one that don't steal because just because it's the law, but if he can get away with it, he will steal. But or the thief that thievery is not even in their heart. So what he was saying, when you're following the set apart spirit, I say set apart spirit or Ruach Hakodesh because that word even holy goes back to, but for the sake of listeners, I'll say Holy Spirit. So when you're following that set apart spirit or Holy Spirit, you no longer are bound to the written law, which means a slave to it, because you don't have to think about it anymore. Meaning, you don't have to think about fornication anymore because you're free from sin. Like, it doesn't cross your mind. You don't have to think about stealing anymore because you're free from that. It doesn't cross your mind because now your spirit has been renewed. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like, let's say if I used to struggle with pornography, but once I came into the knowledge of truth, I realized that that was wrong. So I no longer watched it, but I still struggle with those thoughts and I still struggle with it. So I was a slave to that. You know what I mean? I was a slave to that, even that law, because in my heart, I really wanted to watch pornography. But let's say when I actually changed my heart towards it, when I realized how disgusting and wicked and dark it was, and I truly repented and followed the spirit, versus just like, okay, I'm not only gonna do this because y'all said don't do it, but in my heart I still want to do it. No, when I started truly following the spirit of the Most High Yah, I no longer was bound to that because it doesn't cross my mind anymore. So in layman's terms, this is what Paul was saying, and a lot of people just Christians, what they do is they pick out a couple verses and very well like and misinterpret his words by saying like, oh yeah, this and that, the laws are done away with because Paul said this or Paul said that. You know what I mean? Or Paul says you can eat whatever you want, so we can go back to eating pork.
That's why I was about to get on that pork thing, because the Christians be battling me about that pork. Go ahead.
So with the eating of pork, we already know, man. When you go back to Leviticus, Yah said that's a thing that we don't eat at all. So it's not a food. It's not even edible. It's not even meat. And if people read the book of Maccabees, they will see how the children of Israel, like, they died behind that. They stood when people, what's the saying? I stand on business. What everybody's saying now, they stood on business when it came to them Greeks and them other nations coming over there trying to force them to eat abominable meat.
Yeah,
Meat that was forsaken.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They died behind that. They sacrificed their lives behind that. You know what I'm saying? They stood on that. And even a lot of our ancestors during slavery, contrary to popular belief, they rather died before they ate that stuff. So if you go back to the book of Maccabees and certain books that was taken out of the scriptures, you will see a trend of every time the colonizers come, the first thing they try to do is force us to eat unclean meat because that's forsaken Yah, and it's also defiling our temple. Like in the book of Maccabees, when they was sacrificing the unclean meat in the temple, when we eat that unclean meat, we're defiling our temple. When Yah said that we the temple, so why would we put something that's defiled that He said don't put in our temple in our temple? There's no way around that. You see what I'm saying?
Right. And it's so crazy, because I'm starting to find out that pork is in foods that I didn't even know pork was in. Like Jello, like that Jiffy cornbread, like gummy bears, and I love Airheads. I can't eat Airheads no more because I found out pork was in it. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, they keep sneaking this pork. You can go to any fast food restaurant, and all they got is pork all over the menu. They don't have no options for they just now starting, but they barely even have any vegan options or any kosher options. Like, you can't really go to no restaurant or nowhere where you can get like a kosher meal. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why I eat mostly vegan now. Honestly, I eat mostly vegan, and for things like, I don't eat none of that stuff anymore. But things like, if you do, let's just take gummy bears or something like that, for instance, make sure you get the vegan option because they do have vegan options for all those things. They have vegan cornbread. It's all type of different stuff. You just got to search for it. 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna find it in our neighborhoods. Unfortunately, you got to go to like a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's. But within our neighborhoods, at the grocery stores that they give us, you're not gonna find it. That's why it's really time for us to start growing our own food and opening up our own grocery stores or trading with each other. Because at the end of the day, the stuff that they put in our communities is just garbage. Like, I live in North Tucson right now, predominantly whites. You know what I mean? It's diverse, but it's predominantly whites. It's 5, 6 vegan restaurants by my house. Two,
Mm-hmm.
3 of them are within walking distance. Trader Joe's, Sprouts, and Whole Foods, all within 15 minutes perimeter. When you
Mm-hmm.
get to South Tucson, where it's majority Hispanics and a sprinkle of blacks there, you can't find nothing vegan, nothing, because that's a poorer area. So it's the same thing everywhere you go. I don't care where else you go around the world. If you in our areas where it's black or Hispanic, you're not gonna really too much find anything. You have better luck in some of the Hispanic neighborhoods because they got their own markets, and you might be able to go in there and find some fresh produce or produce from Mexico or whatnot. But when it comes to actual other products and different stuff, like nah, you just not gonna find it.
Mm. Speaking of the Latino community, what do you think about the 12 chart, the 12 tribes chart?
I know a lot of camps teach that chart, and I'll say that at the same time they're correct and incorrect. And I'll say why, because when it comes to Hispanics and when it comes to specifically Native Americans, because those are two I seen on that church, on that a chart, I said church, on that chart,
Mm.
you got to understand thousands of years ago or even hundreds of years ago, majority of the Hispanics were black. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? I don't believe these whitewashed Hispanics from Spain, you see what I'm saying, are
Mm.
a part of the 12 tribes. No, they're Spaniards. They're European. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's Europe. Um, and when you have the Native Americans, I have Native American on my grandmother's side of my family. She'll show you pictures of our great great grandparents. I'm talking about super, super dark, super dark, and it's not random. I was working at Amazon out here in Tucson, and I ran into this young man named Lil, and I thought he was Hispanic at first, but come to find out he was Native American. And he
Mm.
just confirmed what I already knew. And I was like, "Hey man, who named you Lil? You know what that means?" He said, "Yeah, it's Hebrew. It
Mm.
means it means the Most High is God." I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I said, "Who named you that?" He said, "My father named me that." And I was like, "Wow." I was like, "What made your father name you that?" And he went into the history of his father telling him, hundreds of years ago, prior to slavery, I say, they migrated over here from, Africa, what you want to call it, whatever you want to call it now, from that region. And at a time, the particular tribe that he's from, that resides here in Arizona now, they were melanated people.
Mm.
But during the colonization, going to war with Spain, other Europeans, and also the Mexicans at the time, because by this time the Mexicans was already whitewashed, they tribe was raped over and over and over, and that's why they look like the Native Americans that they look now. So that just confirmed what I already knew, is a lot of these natives and a lot of these Hispanics were black at first. So when you talk about the 12 tribes chart, I believe that they all was melanated people because the 12 tribes came from 12 brothers. Now, you family. It's 12 of us almost. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And my
Mm-hmm.
and my dad got kids, he's still making kids. Now, some of us are light skinned, some of us are lighter in skin, some of us are darker, some of us are brown. But we're all black. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? We're brothers. So
Mm.
if Jacob had 12 sons,
Mm.
12 brothers, then it wasn't even no such thing as Mexicans and Indians and all that stuff back then. So where did that even come from? So
Well,
I say
mm.
I just say that they just have it mixed up. They have it mixed up a little bit and insinuating that these modern Native Americans and these modern Hispanics are 12 tribes when it's no, it's the more darker ones. That's nearly a lot of them are nearly extinct, but you can still find some around. You can still find a lot of them around. They still y'all children. You still find Native Americans my complexion. You still find Mexicans my complexion. They just never show them on TV because they want us to believe that these people, anywhere you go, Asia, China, I don't care where you go, they're not going to show the darker people. They're always going to show the ones that look more whitewashed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cause I know they got Afro Latinos, but they usually, like when a darker skinned Afro Latino try to cross the border, those the ones they kill before they get over here most of the time.
Yeah. It's
Some of
crazy.
them.
They got a lot of them here in Arizona. They here in Arizona for sure. Cause I'll be walking up to them and I get to speaking to them and they me no English and I'm like, oh my bad. I thought you was from. I thought you was from Compton or Long Beach or something. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's how they be
Mhm.
looking. No, that's how you know these are our brothers, because you can't even tell the difference between us until we start speaking. Some of them might have like curly hair or whatnot, but I run into some that I'd be like, dang, you look like somebody from my neighborhood. Like you look like people. You look like me. At the end of the day,
Right, right, right. What do you think about polygamous marriages in the Israelite community?
I'm not opposed to it, but I'm okay with my one wife. I'm not, I don't, I have my own reasons why I don't agree with it, but
Mm,
I can't say that it's against the will of the Most High, because if you go to the scriptures, there was a lot of polygamous relationships. Now, within the awakening, within the Israelite community, here is the problem with polygamous relationships. Most men do it for their own lust and greedy desires. They worry about that more than they even worry about Yah. Like, two wives, three, like that should never be the focus. Now, if the Most High tell you, or if the Spirit of the Most High tell you, like, yeah, marry this woman or take this other woman into your house, that's different. But most of these men, they just come into the knowledge of truth and they read the scriptures and they be like, yeah, we can have multiple wives, and that's lust, that's greed, that's your own flesh. So at the end of the day, that's why these men, most of them be very, man. Yeah, it goes deep, because most of them even treat they multiple wives like slaves and do what it's just crazy. So a lot of them have their own agenda behind this multiple wife thing. And then being realistic, most of these dudes don't even have the money, the finances, the resources, the shelter to have multiple wives. Like you can't even take care of yourself. So you got these two or three women as multiple wives so that they can take care of you. You see what I'm saying? And
mm,
that's not yali. That's not told. That's not good, because at the end of the day, now what you running? It's almost like you prostituting them out. You see what I'm saying? If you really think about it, because you depending on them to take care of you. The only reason why you have multiple wives. Now, if we come to agreements and it's teamwork and we all working under one house, then what I mean, whatever agreements a person got under their marriage covenant, that's their business. But what I'm saying, I'm getting to the intentions of the heart of why most of these men want multiple wives. And when your intentions are not good, it's never gonna turn out good.
Okay, because when it comes to multiple wives, I always go back to Deuteronomy 17,
Okay.
and let me see. It probably starts probably like it'll probably start like Deuteronomy 17 verse 15, but I usually go to Deuteronomy 17 verse 17,
Hmm.
where it say, neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. So what do you think about that?
I again, it that's yeah, that's kind of tricky, because when you
Mhm.
look at it, like, and when you talk about multiply, it can be a number of things. It can be like, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. But if you look at it, Abraham, you know what I'm saying, his situation. Um, if you look at King David, if you look at just, I mean, Jacob, if you look at, they all had multiple wives. I wouldn't say multiple, they had two. You know what I'm saying? Now, what does multiply mean? Multiply can be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. But when you look at each and every one of these situations, something went wrong along the
Mhm.
line.
Mhm.
Something went wrong along the line, every one of these situations. You know what I'm saying? Even going back to Abraham with Hagar. You see what I'm saying? Hagar. You know what I mean? Her
Mhm.
and Sarah end up having an issue, and Sarah was like, send this woman away. You see what
Mhm.
I'm saying? If you just go, I mean, and then if you look at King Solomon, he was definitely fooling with all his wives. Like, that's the reason why everything Israel kind of honestly fell apart, because these multiple wives, most of them were serving other gods anyway, and
Mhm.
they start building up high places in the temple, and just all kind of crazy stuff. They was fooling. So that's another thing, that's, a lot of these multiple wives and stuff, they be turning the hearts of the men away from Yah, because whether it's lust or whether them being a mixture of other guys or whatever the case may be. So when it comes to that, like, yeah, that's I personally don't think that it's just like sin, but I don't think it's in the Most High's will for us to just be running around with multiple wives. You know what I mean? In the beginning, I think it was allowed because, just for population,
Mm,
just to spread our seed. But however, it even if you go back to Genesis, it speaks of, what I mean, he made man and one man, and a man leaves his mother to cleave to his wife, and we become one. Man and one man become one. Let no man separate what Yah has, what I mean, what Yah has joined. So
mm,
at the end of the day, that's one man and one woman coming together as one. You see what I'm saying? Now under a marriage of covenants, if you got agreements like, you had handmaids and you had, what I mean, whatever, that's different. You see what I'm saying? Because you still, technically, if they in your house, they are still under your rule. So it's a lot of technicalities that can go with that, but it's like, I believe it's a fine line. I believe it's a very, very fine line.
Well,
That's just me.
I do know in the case of Abraham and Sarah and Jacob and his wives that they gave their maidens for children. So
Yes,
those was the reasons why they uh did what they did because they felt
absolutely.
like they were barren. And I'm just gonna put myself in this just a little tiny bit because I'm 43 and got married in what May. I got married in
Mhm.
May, and so my husband wants children. Well, he don't. It's not like a deal breaker or anything, but he wants more
Mhm.
children. And even though I can bear children, I can bear children. I'm thinking about the risk that it would take to bear a child. You get what I'm
Absolutely. Absolutely.
saying? I'm like, well, can somebody else carry the baby? But I'm not into surrogacy. But I'm just saying, like, I'm asking him that he don't want it no other way but me to have his child. But
And I
I'm
get
saying,
what you're saying.
yeah, but I'm like,
Absolutely.
that's me as a woman. Like, okay, like how Sarah, she was what 100 or something,
Hmm.
and she felt like she couldn't bear that child, even though God said she was going to bear that child. And she didn't have that faith, like you were talking about earlier, to bear that child. So,
Exactly.
I get it. I get it because now I'm 43. My husband's just a few years younger than me, and he wants a son. And I'm like, oh, well, I think we
Exactly.
might have to have somebody else do this. I don't know. We'll
Now I
see.
feel you. And like you said, that's context. See, what you just gave was context, and that's context around, the scriptures and what was going on during that time. It's context. So a lot of things, a lot of stuff, if we able to look at it in context, we'll see why it was allowed by the Most High. But like when you talk about in the community, people have all their own reasons why they want multiple wives. They have their own desires. They have their own lustful greed, whatever it is. They have their own intentions of the heart, and they're not even seeking Yah. Like, okay, am I even supposed to have multiple wives? It might not be meant for you to have but one wife. For somebody else, that might be the case. So again, it's when it comes to Yah, some things are commandments. That's for all of us. And then there are some things that are not really written in stone because it's a case by case scenario. You see what I'm saying? Based
Hmm.
on based on context, if you will.
Hmm. Can you answer this question? Because this is like, so a lot of people debate the is Esau the white man. Do you
It's
think
crazy. I mean, I'm gonna tell you where they got that from. Esau per se, like Esau himself,
Mm,
absolutely not. He's the twin brother of Jacob. Twin. If he was anything close to white, I would say he probably was an albino, but it doesn't even say that. You know what I'm saying? When you look up red and ruddy in the Hebrew, it's the
mm,
same as the word Adam. So does that mean Adam was white? You see what I'm saying?
mm,
So that would say Adam was white. So that would mean the first man was white. So that would mean everybody in the scriptures was white. And that would mean we the children of the white man. You see what I'm saying? If you just
mm,
have just common sense around that. So when you go back to that word Adam and you go back to red and ruddy, it's literally the color of mud. It's the color. That's why Adam was made from the clay, from the mud, from the dirt, from the soil, the earth's soil. What color is that? I don't see. I live in Arizona. I don't even see. The closest I see to white is sand, and even that's brown at the end of the day. So when you're talking about soil and we talking about red and ruddy, when you look up, so for the color red back in the day, you got to understand this black thing. This whole black even came from Europeans calling us black. If you go back to biblical times, we would be considered more red. Like me,
Mm.
I would be considered red because of the color of my skin. I look more like freaking the soil. You see what I'm saying? And when you look up ruddy, red and ruddy, if you look up a horse that's red and ruddy, if you look up a dog that's red and ruddy, it's gonna give you a brownish red color, which will look more like us. So in the Hebrew, they describe certain things by picture. Like, okay, you look like this. So that's where the term Adam, red and ruddy, come from. So when it say that Esau, when it describes him, and then Harry, let's just be realistic. Like, I'm hairy. I have a beard. Hair grows all over my chest, my arms, wherever. It was very specific that these things were described because it all ties into the storyline. Like
Mm.
Jacob putting on fur, and you know what I'm saying, uh
Mm.
Abraham or Isaac feeling his arm and saying, "Oh, this is Esau. I'm gonna give you the blessing." You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
everything is always drawn out in the scriptures to the
Mm.
T, so you can get everything in context. Now, however, where the Esau thing came from, if you later on down the line, his lineage mixed with Ishmael, and
Mm.
when Edom, which was Esau's offspring, was overtook by Rome. Rome was in government during this time. And yes, Rome did mix with the Edomites. They did mix with them, just like they do everything else. They did with us and all that, just like these Europeans always do. That's what they do. They always mix with the women. So at a time like, yeah, does that lineage have European blood and Roman blood? Absolutely. We all probably do. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, just keeping it real. But when Rome was in government over Edom, there was a lot of mixing going on. So that's what they be saying, Esau and different stuff. But if you really, really, really look at the land and who they say Esau lineage is, if you go to the Middle East right now, most Middle Easterns, most Muslims, or is whatever you, Saudi Arabians or whatever, they'll tell you they know that they come from the lineage of Esau. It's still in Ethiopia right now. It's a tribe called the Esau tribe, and if you look at them, they're very red, my complexion, and they have curly red hair, and they very most of their hair, they have afros, beards, a lot of hair, and they claim to be the last full-blooded um full-blooded lineage of Esau, because they the only one of his offspring that didn't mix. They kept it in the family. Even to this day, they mate with each other so that they don't go outside of that bloodline. So that lets you know that's the most original bloodline you go get to Esau. So that lets you know, and there are some lighter colored people that come from Esau, because like I said, the blood mixing later on down the line, but Esau himself was not white at all.
Hmm. Didn't Esau have a child by I mean, didn't Esau marry Ishmael's daughter or something like that?
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. Like something like he ended up marrying one of Ishmael's daughters.
Mm.
His offspring, or either his offspring at a time, he mixed with Ishmael. That's yeah. So, and if you look at if you talk to a lot of even Muslims, they'll tell you they come from Ishmael. You see what I'm saying? So again, they have that Esau in them as well, and they're a wild group of people. They are wild, like you go them Middle Easterns, they wild. They wild. So, and they sold us into slavery. You know what I mean? They
Mm.
sold us into slavery. And even if you look at the Esau tribe in Ethiopia, they sold a lot of different tribes into slavery, and those tribes are said to have Israel blood too. So yeah, they sold us into slavery, sub-Saharan slave trade. You know what I mean? Yeah, they sold their brothers into slavery first before Europeans even came over there and took us into slavery. So at the end of the day, like a lot of that prophecy does fit them. You see what I'm saying? More than it would fit an actual European.
Hmm. Um, Let me ask you this: what do you think? And I don't want you to get too. Let's keep it politically correct a little bit for the sake of
I got you.
being straight. But how? Okay, let me ask it like this: how do you think that the what's going on with the Israelis and the Hamas people in Palestine and all that? I don't know who's who. How do you think that fit into the prophecies? That's a
Man, it's
that's fully loaded.
that
Take a
that
breath.
question right there. I'm gonna try to answer this. When you look at Babylon,
Mhm,
when you look at Mystery Babylon, we always equate that with America, right?
mhm,
But when you look at this Babylonian system, this whole world has become Babylon. But we
mhm,
do know that Mystery Babylon, the particular city that they talking about
mhm,
in prophecy, I believe that it is America. I'm gonna
mhm,
start there. It just fits pretty much everything in Revelations.
mhm,
Now, if you look at America and you look at those who run America and you look at those who say that they the Yehudim, but they really are the synagogue of Satan, all this different stuff. You know what I mean? If you look at
mhm,
these people, and you look at two armies that they are backing and using to actually really fight their war right now, if you really think about it,
mhm,
it's over there and it's Ukraine. So
mhm,
when you see these prophecies, we automatically like, oh well, I don't know because it's not going on in America or whatever. But who you think America using to fight these wars? They're backing and sending billions of dollars over there. So technically, if you really look at it, let's just take it like this. Let's say I'm a gang member or drug kingpin or whatever the case may be, and I want this territory over here, and I go and fund this gang right here, millions
mhm,
of dollars and guns and different stuff, and they go and send them to go to war with this other gang over here so that I can have this territory. I might not be fighting this war, but I am fighting this war because they're fighting it for me. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, when you look at actual Babylon, that's all prophecy. This is all Babylon in motion, if you will. Because all these other countries, they're gonna end up joining. It's gonna be a big old war, and everybody's gonna end up, the hearts are going to be stirred up to point their bow at America. You see what I'm saying? At Babylon. So at the end of the day, a lot of these countries are going to end up coming together and fighting against America. All of this is prophecy. But when it
mhm,
comes to the children, the actual children of Israel, what we
mhm,
must understand is that it's two different. Is the country and the people are two different things,
mhm,
because the country, 1943, let's just go back to the Balfour Declaration, you know what I'm saying, backed by the Rothschilds and backed by the US government. Those people are actually Poland, they're Polish. And those are people who converted into the religion Judaism that has absolutely nothing with the actual children of Israel. You see what I'm saying? And I can say this because I've talked to Jewish rabbis, I've talked to plenty of people who know the truth. And I was able to sit down and have a real dialogue with them. They tell us, like, yeah, we from Poland. Like, actually, you guys are really from over there. Like, they know, like, a lot of them know this. So even to those who don't know, I would inquire them to talk to those of their people who actually know the truth, because a lot of them do know. So I just say a lot of that, what we don't understand, what we got to come into grips with, as harsh as it sounds, when you read the prophecies, everything that's going on right now is really for the turning of captivity. It's for our salvation. You see what I'm saying? It
mhm,
looks like, oh, the world's coming to the end and it's getting wicked and it's getting crazy, but those who endure to the end shall be saved.
mhm,
Salvation. So these things are all the destruction of this beast system, and everything that's going on in this world right now at a heightened level is for our salvation. You see what I'm saying?
mhm,
That's what Yah said. That's what the scriptures say. You know what I mean? When you read Isaiah, Jeremiah, I don't care what prophet you read, you go through it and you search it, it's gonna tell you that this is all for our salvation. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And yes, Babylon is gonna have to pay. And yes, those who took his children into captivity, who forward the affliction, even though it was a punishment, he said they forward the affliction. So they're gonna get a double cup of iniquity. Like, these things are, people don't like to talk about these parts of the scripture because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to see that, yeah, like, okay, he was mad at us. So yeah, we went into captivity, But you don't think that he's not mad at the people who carried this out, who was wicked enough to hang our women and kill our children and all that? And he talks about a very specific prophecies and different things that will go forth, all for the preservation of our lives. So that's why I always recommend, I always tell our people, like, don't get too involved in these politics and all this stuff of what's going on. Focus on getting your heart right and aligning yourself with the Most High Yah, because through all of this, we are going to be delivered. You see what I'm saying? Not what Christianity tell you. Oh, if you're a Christian and this and that man, that Bible don't got nothing to do with Christianity at all. You see what I'm saying? Now, it does have something to do with the actual followers, because even us in the awakening, you have to be a follower of the Messiah. Like, you have to believe in the Son. So it has something to do with the one true Son, but who they teach and the person and the character and all that they teach and that religious stuff, the book don't have nothing to do with them. The only thing they can do is humble themselves, come up out of Christianity, and that's it. Come into the true knowledge and wisdom and truth of the Most High. But it's going to take a lot of humbling, even for our people who are stuck in that and don't even believe that they are the true children. I had somebody argue with me the other day, like, no, those are the true children over there. I'm like, yeah, you still stuck on that, but, that's a whole nother story.
I
I
want to play something for you, and I want you to respond to it. Hold on, give me a second. I'm trying to.
You gonna do what?
I want to play something for you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not gonna put it on the screen because of copyright things. I'm just gonna play the audio.
Okay, perfect. Put my ear to the speaker.
Wait a minute, that's a commercial. Hold on. Health insurance plan. I hate these commercials on YouTube.
So he can bless him. But she overheard what was going on, intervened, and then told Jacob to go and steal the blessing. Now, I had a conversation with a brother today who was a pastor or a bishop. He's a really good friend of mine. I have much love for this brother. And we were having a conversation, and he did not want to understand that in the verse, Rebecca says, "Let this curse fall on me, my son." What curse is she talking about? Because when she changed that order to the people, a curse fell on her. And everybody that believed in that are going to be progenitors of the curse. So every Christian, every Israelite, every Hebrew, anybody that follows the line of Jacob, they're following the line of a curse. Now, I asked the brother this. I said to him, I said, brother, in church, y'all have a statement. You say the devil is a what? And they say he's a liar. So then when we see Jacob and Rebecca setting him up to lie, now the devil's not a liar anymore. Show me where that makes sense anywhere. You can't have.
All right.
You can't have one without the other. And you can't change that and say, okay, the devil's a liar, but when your foundation is a lie, and I pulled that to show you that now it's not a lie anymore. That's not the devil. You're working.
Okay, what you think of what he's saying? Did you hear what he said?
I heard everything he said, and he has a very misunderstanding of what was going on in that situation. Yeah, that's crazy. So they even teach that. I've heard that in church. That Jacob actually stole the blessing and all this and other. Yahuwah, the Most High Yah, the Creator, the Holy Spirit, the Creator. You know what I'm saying? Let me use that word, Holy Spirit, but his Ruach came to Rebecca and visited her, and told her that the youngest will be the head. You know what I mean? He will rule over the oldest. So he already spoke the prophecy through Jacob. You see what I'm saying? He already had chose Jacob because he knew the heart of Esau. Yah knows our heart. Like he knew the heart of Esau. He could not give the blessing to the firstborn because the firstborn already had a wicked heart. And here's this, man, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is something that last 2-3 weeks ago this happened to me, and I'm gonna give you a backstory. So Esau, you know how wicked it was back then for someone to give up their birthright, and still even to this day, you know how wicked it is to give up your birthright. Esau gave up his birthright. Even before this had happened, he gave up his birthright for some food, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Porridge, whatever it was. He gave up his
Cottage, something
birthright.
like this cottage.
Cottage, he gave up his birthright for it. Now, most might will say, well, Jacob tricked him out of it, or this and that. But we already know the spirit was already in operation. So none of this was random, because it was already spoken when they was in the womb. When they was in their mother's belly, this was already spoken by Yah. So however Yah choose for it to go down, it that's Yah's business. You see what I'm saying? So you can't really say it's a lie or it's deception, because Yah already spoke it. You see what I'm saying? So however he used it to happen, or however he made it happen, that doesn't mean it was the devil, or the devil was nah, absolutely not. So Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. That's wicked in the eyes of Yah. To sell your birthright. 3 weeks ago, when I was up here in Sabino Canyon Mountain, and I was spending some time with Yah, and I was in prayer, I was in meditation. He took me through a deep healing. I'm talking about, man, just childhood traumas, different stuff that I had to heal from, and really go through like this whole, man, it was deep. It was deep. It was a very, very deep experience. And I was just so humbled afterwards. And after that, he came and he comforted me, and I was just walking and talking with him, and I would sit down in different spots, and he was like, sit here with me for a while. And I was spending some very intimate time with the Father. And as I looked around with tears in my eyes, I'm looking at the mountains and the trees and nature and just such this beautiful place. I was like, wow. I'm like, man, this is how Adam had to feel in the garden when everything was pure. I was so childlike and feeling like a child in this period, in this place, and in this period of time. And I was like, whoa, this is, man, if this is this beautiful, I can only imagine what the kingdom looks like. And Yah was like, yeah, this is your birthright. And I was like, wow. And when he said that, right after he said that, he said, and Esau I hate it. And I was like, wow, Yah. And the revelation came to me. It's like, all my children have become Esau. So we want to bang on people and call them Esau. Yah was like, all my children have become Esau. Why? Because we give up our birthright for material things. We give up our birthright for food. We give our birthright for accolades. We give up our birthright for jobs, careers, businesses, money. Whatever it is in this material world, we give up our God-given birthright for it. And that is something that Yah hates. And when you go back to the Hebrew, the word hate actually means he turns his face from. So we give up, when we give up the things that Yah has for us, he turns his face away from us. And that's why when we gave up Yah and started worshiping other gods and doing other things, fornicating with other gods, he turned his face from us, and we was allowed to be taken into captivity by the oppressors. You see what I'm saying? He had to turn his face from us because we turned on him. We gave up our birthright. So it's wicked to give up your birthright. Yah knew that Esau had a wicked heart. And how you know Esau had a wicked heart? Because if he had Yah in him, even when Jacob did all that, he wouldn't sought to kill Jacob. He would have forgave Jacob and let Jacob cross when they was getting chased by, I forgot was getting chased by, but he didn't even want to let them cross. Esau was wicked in the eyes of Yah. Just like he already knew that Cain was wicked. See, Yah knows the heart of us. He knows us since the beginning. He knows us before we even exist. You see what I'm saying? Before Abraham agreed to give up Isaac, if you go to the book of Jasher, it said that Yah already had that sacrifice set apart, even when he put Adam in a garden before Abraham was even born, because he knew that Abraham was going to be faithful and agree to giving up. He already had that set apart offering. So Yah already knows our heart before we even exist. So he knew that Esau was wicked. He knew that Esau was going to give up his birthright. He knew that Esau was going to sought to kill his brother. So why would he give him that birthright and create the lineage of King David, the lineage of Yahushua HaMashiach, the living Messiah? Why would he want all of that lineage to come from Esau, and Esau was wicked? Knock it off.
Right. So the brother that I just played, right?
Yeah.
He has this doctrine. His name is Darren Tillis, by the way.
Okay.
And he has this doctrine where he says when Rebecca consulted with her Lord or the Lord, she wasn't consulting with Abraham. I mean, not Abraham. I'm sorry, Isaac's Lord. She was consulting with the Lord of her father, the seed of her father's Lord.
Hey, see, that be them other doctrines though. That be them other doctrines that's, I mean, I don't know where he got that from. This is why I always, honestly, this is why I always encourage people to study the Hebrew. And when I say study the old Paleo Hebrew, and when I say study it, I'm not saying you got to learn how to speak it fluently or learn, because the language, a lot of words is not even around anymore, and a lot of words that are now in English didn't exist in the Hebrew. But I'm saying certain texts and different stuff that the scriptures break down, when you get a Hebraic understanding, it gives you when you go into the lexicon, it doesn't only give you a Hebraic breakdown of the word and the pictograph and where it came from, but it also gives you a visual picture of the culture and how our ancestors did certain things. So you get a very deep understanding. So this is just where I'm at with it spiritually. If not saying people can't have pieces and bits and different stuff of the truth and information, because information is information, but if you still using certain terms, names, and if you still have a very little understanding of certain things spiritually, I can't really listen to you, because it just shows where you're at as far as leaning on your own understanding, and there's still breaches even within your thought progress or your thought pattern. Because to come into the full knowledge of understanding and to come into the full knowledge, you got to really come into the fullness of who Yah is. And when you come into the fullness of who he is, he starts to really give you revelation. Even when you read in the scriptures, you start to think like your father. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say nobody really you can't understand a father unless you are a son. You see what I'm saying? And the father you don't know the father unless you are a son. Only the son knows the father, and we are to become children of the Most High Yah. So at the end of the day, that word "know" means experience. It goes back to the Hebrew word "yada." It means experience. So you have to experience Yah on a deeper level to truly understand things, to understand what's being said. Most of these men who have these doctrines and who are teachers, they are lovers of knowledge. So yes, they get into certain information and they leaning on their own understanding, because they're not in a prayer closet. They're not at the foot of the Father. They're not crying real tears, crying out to Yah, allowing him to do the inner work, to heal their heart, to renew their mind. They're not being humble. They're not humbling themselves. They're not being like King David, entering before Yah with a broken and contrite heart. They're not going deep, being healed of wounds and traumas. They're not doing these things. So therefore they're still compromised. They have compromised minds, compromised hearts. At any given minute, they can be used as an agent of the devil to mislead people, to misguide people, to misdirect people. Before I came on this platform, when you reached out to me after I finished eating, I prayed and I allowed y'all to just let the spirit lead. Like I don't have my own perception. Don't let me speak my own words. It's not about what I know, what I think, what it's about. None of that. It's about him. It's about his word. It's about his truth. I don't have no truth. Everybody have their own truth. No, they don't. I don't have no truth. It's only one truth. You see what I'm saying? There's no 50 million versions of the truth, because I'm an individual and I'm living out my own truth. No, absolutely. I'm living out my own deception, because there's only one truth. And that's just that. So at the end of the day, like, a lot of these people, they sound good, they sound smart, they be able to dig up some information and recite some verses, but they all leaning on their own understanding, because they know not. And when you read that thing and when you break down certain stuff in the Hebrew, you truly understand what's being said. Even going back to Jacob wrestling with Yah, if you go back to that word wrestling, it means that he was broken and contrite and in submission before Yah until he received his blessing. And that's how we supposed to be. We supposed to be with submission before the Father, broken, making sure we don't have this pride and this ego and this lust and all these fleshly things. We have to be broken and contrite before him so that he can bless us. So a lot of people, they just running around leaning on their own understanding and just not even doing these things, and they not really reading to understand or really doing research. They just read it and they just build up their own understanding, and then they want to go and teach and mislead thousands, millions of people. You see what I'm saying? That's what Christianity did. That's what all these other world religions did. They got people
Mm-hmm.
believing a whole nother doctrine that's not even in the scripts. But
Mm-hmm.
that's that. Let me, let's, I
Take a
don't want to
woo
go too far.
Go drink some water for a second, because I got some
Yeah.
more questions.
Hey, nah, that's that passion, that's that zeal. Because like one thing I don't like is misinformation. Like, even as a personal trainer, when I see trainers in a gym like just doing wrong stuff, you're going to harm somebody with misinformation. Like, there are so many people searching for truth now, and people get prideful and want to get up and teach because they think they know something and they don't even know anything. You see what I'm saying? And they'll be held accountable for that. So that's very dangerous. That's why certain stuff you ask me, I'm like, I don't know yet. Let me go. If people ask me a question, I'm like, you know what? Let me go study that. Let me go pray on that, because I can't really give you a exact answer on what that is. But I'm not
Mm,
going to sit here and act like I know and lean on my own understanding. That's not it. Anything that I spoke today, I can show you where to research it. Like, anybody who wants to ask questions, they can reach out to me and we can get on a Zoom, and I can bring the scripts. I can bring other different, or you can go research it yourself, or whatever the case may be. I always like for my stuff to be backed by something, because I'm not about to be out here misleading anybody. And if I ever and for those that I have misled on false information in the past, I definitely I repented, and I definitely made those crooked paths was made straight. You see what I'm saying? And I learned from those experiences, because I was prideful at a time where I hear something and want to get up and teach it, and then I'm like, I don't even know what the heck I'm talking about. I just heard this from somebody else, and I'm sitting here repeating something I heard, and it's probably not even of a truth. See that on the internet all day, every day, with people reposting information, and you be like, bro, like, that's not even. Come on now, you know what I mean?
right. That's so funny because this is crazy. People be crazy, but I'm asking these questions that that I've been asked before, and I'm just trying to see what your thought process is. Which I basically kind of answered the question some of the same, but you gave a little bit more insight. Another question I would have for you. This is an atheism question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if God exists, then why do children die, and why are children starving?
Mm. You know what? Somebody gave. I mean, let's just be realistic. First of all, because there's evil. You know what I mean? There's wickedness. We have evil governments. We have wicked people who are running this world. The scripture even say the God of this world is the devil. You see what I'm saying? So we gotta first and foremost recognize that. You see what I'm saying? That there's so much evil and wickedness within this world. And we also know who does the most high uses. He uses man at the end of the day. So we have to be righteous enough to be truly led and guided by him, to be the salt and the light of this world, to
Mm,
shine a light on that wickedness. You see what I'm saying? Because
mm,
that's what it say. We're supposed to be the light and the salt of the earth.
mm,
So first and foremost, there's a such thing as evil. Like, people think that it's just supposed to be all God, and no, there's a such thing as evil and darkness. Like, so we know that. I say the word evil because darkness can mean a barrage of things. Now, there's another thing as lack of knowledge, people shall perish. And let's just take it for like those who don't know certain things. Like
mm,
the person, like, because of our lack of knowledge and not knowing how to form our food or cultivate our own food and till the ground, guess what's gonna happen when there's a food shortage? We're gonna have to depend on the government, and there's gonna be people out here starving, people taking the mark, people going through all kind of crazy stuff because of lack of knowledge. They don't know the knowledge of Yah, that we can go and grow our own things, build our own communities, and become self-sufficient. For the person who have a lack of knowledge on health or wellness, and they die of cancer or whatever because they eating all this fast food that's filled with cancer and disease and different stuff, it was a lack of knowledge that caused them their death. For a person, a lack of knowledge of the just Yah, period, go outside, get killed, get murdered because they running around gangbanging, killing their own brother, raping their own sister, all these different things. This all comes from a lack of knowing Yah, experiencing Yah. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's always gonna be wickedness and evil, but most of it comes from a lack of knowledge because the information is there. Yah is always there. It's not him who forsook us, it's man who forsook Yah, and that's why we live in a fallen world. We live in a fallen world because we forsaken the most high creator. This was not his will. He say that his it is not his will that any man perish. So he don't want any of his creation perish. This wasn't his will from the beginning. But at the end of the day, we live in a fallen, wicked world. So that's why you have governments and different stuff that run stuff. Look how much billions of food we throw away in America. America alone can feed the rest of the world. So it's not a matter of, oh, if there's a such thing as Yah, it's wicked man who's on this earth right now that's causing all this stuff to happen. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
This is
Right.
a result.
Right. Let me see. What's the next question I have for you? This totally escaped me. I said, okay, that's an atheist question. Oh, so about the flood, the biblical flood, right?
Yeah.
I was on a show the other day. I was helping a brother out, which turned into, I don't know what happened with that because nobody was supporting the brother. He's an atheist though. And I came on the show just to help him run the show. And I talked to him prior to the show and let him know, if you got any dead spots in your show, I'll ask you some questions. Blah, say this or the other. And so he was presenting something about where Christianity came from. I helped him out with that. He mentioned something about Jerusalem. I asked him where Jerusalem was. I guess his wife had a problem with me asking him where Jerusalem was. I try to be respectful of the wife at all times. If a man has a wife, I always want to respect her because, but I have a business to run too. I'm running this. So I'm gonna deal with men that's married, but I feel like it's important for me to acknowledge the wife.
Absolutely.
And then so she was in the background screaming and yelling about I think the question was to the effect like if there was a flood, a global flood, how was the dove able to find an olive branch?
Mm-hmm.
Like where did what if everything was flooded, how did the olive tree survive or whatever? What would be your answer to that if you can answer that?
Well, it explains during this time, this was after the flood, and how everything was starting to, Noah was told to wait for everything to dry out. So that's why he'd send a dove out more than once. And once the dove found the olive branch, that's when Noah knew that the water levels was coming down and everything was beginning to dry out. You see what I'm saying? Just because if you flood Arizona right now and the water, I just used the river by my house, prime example. During the summer, it's filled with water. And during monsoon season, after monsoon season, it's dry and we're able to walk through the stream or jump on rocks and different stuff. The trees and the rocks and everything is still there. But when it's flooded, you can't see those things. So just because a flood happens doesn't mean that the trees and nature and all that is going to be wiped out. That's just, that should be common sense right there.
Well, she said because of the length of the flood or whatnot, 40 days, 40 nights. And then how long? It was probably like 2.5 years or a year and a half before everything dried out. She's basically saying, how was those trees surviving underwater for so long? Wouldn't they just be dead? And so my thing was, well, I'm pretty sure those trees already had seeds in the ground. You feel what I'm saying? But I guess I don't know.
If you look at like a lot of places that's been flooded, like I was looking up the history of Compton, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like a flood to where the whole city was flooded out. But early 1900s, the canal in Compton had overflowed, had overflooded, and the ground became very fertile. And that's why, growing up, like when you was younger, you go through Compton, they had fruit trees everywhere. They got gangs named after the Fruit Town, Treetop. Like, they not just randomly named that. Like, these places were very fruitful places. and they say that Compton became fertile soil and fruitful after that flood. So I look at that as symbolic. Yeah, the flood was cleansing the earth. So being that it was cleansing it, that means it became fruitful afterwards. You see what I'm saying? It became fruitful afterwards. I mean, it's life. Like he was getting rid of the death and bringing forth the life, even though we went right back into, sinfulness and wickedness. But at the end of the day, it brought forth life. That's what water does. Water is an element that can destroy and it can bring life. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good answer. Okay, now let's move on to, because we was talking on the phone and we were talking about the firmament. How do you pronounce it? Firmament. Firmament.
Permanent.
I'm trying. Yeah.
The the shield. You know what I mean? Nah, go ahead.
Do you think that the Earth is round or flat?
I'm gonna tell you like this again, like the answer I gave you. I don't even like arguing on that because it's really it's a stupid argument. Whether it's round or flat, it doesn't matter. But however, there are certain scriptures in older texts that that insinuates that the earth is more. And when people say flat, they're not talking about like just it's flat, but it's more of a it's not round like how they say, in NASA or whatnot. So there are a lot of ancient texts that prove that, even it's even biblical, that proves that or that speaks on that. And for it to have like a firmament, which is a dome, I mean, if you just really look at it, a dome, like you can't have something circle and then have a dome over the top of it. It would have to be a dome that covers the whole circle, if you will. So I believe, like me, I lean more towards ancient texts. And people like, well, they didn't have the technology and different stuff now. Yeah, that's the point. Exactly. Ancient texts had more knowledge and wisdom than we even have now. They had pyramids and different stuff. They had technology that we can't even build to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
from the Most High, and not only did they have revelation of the Most High, those who cleaved onto wickedness, they had revelation from the fallen angels. Now, the information that they had from the fallen angels was heavenly information. This was information that Yah got mad at them because they wasn't supposed to teach humans. So these fallen angels, when it say the devil or the adversary, the serpent, the dragon, got kicked out of the Shamaim or the heavens, and a third of the angels. You think y'all made these angels stupid and not without the knowledge? They had knowledge of the heavenly realms. They had knowledge. They got a knowledge and wisdom of technology and different stuff that humans don't even understand because they came from that realm of existence. And it said that they was casted here to earth. So they not in hell or in this dungeon under the ground where it's fire and this dude with a pitchfork. No, they're dwelling here. That's why I say the devil is the god of this earth. They rule this realm of existence. So I say a lot of ancients, they got their knowledge from higher celestial beings. They got their knowledge from places they wasn't supposed to get it from unless they was submitted to Yah. You see what I'm saying? So me, I trust ancient knowledge because ancient knowledge always outdates man continuously, having their own perspectives and different stuff now. So there is a lot of ancient knowledge that leans more on towards this earth being what it is. And then I know we're lied to because I believe there are other continents. There are more landmass than what they even tell us. There's other realms, even here on this particular planet, if you say quote unquote planet, that we don't even know. We haven't even discovered yet. You still have scientists discovering stuff under the water and here and there and here. If we haven't even discovered everything on this planet, don't let these people fool you and think that they know what's going on outer space. You see what I'm saying? We don't even know what's going on here in this space. So at the end of the day, I don't really trust the government when they talk about, oh, they've been to the moon, they've been here, and they can. This is a picture of the globe way from outer space. It's already been people from NASA coming out saying no one's been outer space. They've been inner space, which is beyond what we can see, the sky, whatever. But nobody has been past that firmament, that because that's what separates this realm and Yah. Nobody, no man on this. I don't care what kind of rocket, what kind of satellite, what kind of spaceship you build. You're not about to go into that heavenly realm because that's a realm that's man cannot go to. You see what I'm saying? Unless you go there through meditation or prayer or whatever. You see certain parts in the scripts where Yah called certain people like Enoch or certain people up and showed him those realms. But that will be what they call astral projection when you're able to go into it. That's what they call now astral projection when you're able to go into other realms. Some people have learned how to do it illegally. That's what the whole astral projection thing. Some people learned how to do it illegally. Some people do it legally. You see what I'm saying? Through the Most High, through Yah.
What's astral projection illegally?
I mean, if I pray, if I'm praying to, I don't know, if I'm meditating and I'm asking the devil or Baal or some other entity, you see what I'm saying, for this knowledge, then that's illegal. You know what I mean? And what I mean by illegal, like it just means that you're not doing it through the door, through the portal. That's why Yahusha, the Son of God, said, "I'm the door. I'm the door." Door is basically portal, or basically goes back to the word dalit. You know what I'm saying? Like, through me is the only way to enter. Through this door, through this portal is the only way to enter, meaning through the Most High Creator. Because a lot of us, just like, meditation and other things that we do outside of Yah, we end up coming back with negative energies. We end up coming back yoked to other entities. We end up worshiping other gods and different stuff. And that always brings problems. So we have to always make sure when we doing stuff is led by the Most High Yah, and we're not doing our own thing, because now we don't have protection. I don't care how spiritual you think you are. Oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna go over here into this realm. You didn't get permission to do that. So guess what? You're gonna go over there to that realm and, excuse my language, get your ass kicked by some other entities. And now here you come back and you wonder why you didn't went crazy or some other stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then another way I say illegally, because a lot of these people who are practicing these practices, even though our ancestors practiced these, and a lot of this stuff is in the scripture, you got to understand a lot of these people are doing it from an esoteric or science perspective. Most of these people are other nations who don't even know Yah, so they learning our information and they putting it into practice. They don't have permission to do that. You see what I'm saying? They don't. You know what I mean? Just like people, all these people trying to build missiles and rockets to go outer space and go to this planet. You don't have permission to do that. That's why every time they really try to go somewhere, it blows up. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's some try to go too deep into the ocean. What's gonna happen? You don't have permission to be down there. It's made like that for a reason. Just like just like the sky, everything is made like that. It's boundaries. Yah is about boundaries, and when man oversteps those boundaries, what happens?
A whole lot of BS. That's what happens.
That's why you don't see too many of us doing that type of stuff, because genetically we know it's in our DNA. So a lot of this stuff, if we just really humble ourselves and connect ourselves to the source, a lot of these informations and powers and different stuff we already had. That's why he said, you are gods, you are Els, you are powers. I gave you powers. I made you in my likeness and image. So a lot of this stuff we don't have to go seeking. It's already within us if we humble ourselves, seek within, and align ourselves with Yah. A lot of these other nations, they don't have that true connection. So they have to make up other ways to experience these things. You see what I'm saying? And here we go following them when really they supposed to be following us. That's why we was the salt. That's why we the salt and the light of the earth, because Yah gave us the commandments to be the lawmakers, the lawgivers, I should say. He's the lawmaker. So we supposed to be teaching them the ways of Yah. We supposed to be showing them and being a light to them, because we influence them. That's why they use us. That's why the Hasatan, the enemy, he uses us to influence the world negatively through music, sports, entertainment. Everybody's influenced by that. But what if we was like Abraham? When you read the life of Abraham, he was the only one righteous during that time, but he was teaching the rest of the world the ways of Yah. Same thing with Enoch. Same thing with Noah. Same thing with every single vessel that was used. They were teaching and laying down the law to not just the children of Israel, but everywhere they went, to all the other nations. You know what I'm saying? Moses was going to Pharaoh like, hey, this was Yahuwah said this, and this is what's about to happen. You see what I'm saying? Daniel going to Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuchadnezzar like, man, surely your God is the one true El. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of light we supposed to be spreading to the other nations so that they cleave to us. You see what I'm saying? That's what the scripture literally says. But at the end of the day, we go following behind them, whoring behind them and their information and their knowledge, and they got the information and knowledge from us. You see what I'm saying? It's
Right.
crazy. Doesn't make sense. It's backwards. You know what I mean? And that's why the world is backwards.
Yeah, definitely backward. Um, oh gosh. I was gonna go to the book of Enoch, right? Do you think that that's a book? Because even I don't think in my 1611 with the apocrypha, I don't even think I have the book of the Enoch in there either.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me see. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me grab it real quick. And I don't think I have the book of Enoch, nor do I have the book of Jasher or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
with the book of Enoch, right, it says that the fallen, the watchers or whatever they called,
Mm-hmm.
taught makeup. Do you think that when women wear makeup, that that's some type of sorcery?
Uh, I'm a break this down so both men and women can understand. Instead of just straight up yes. Now, I think it's nothing wrong. Like me as a husband, I think it's nothing wrong with my wife. Like, putting on some stuff. Like she want to put on some light, soft little lipstick, lip gloss, whatever. You know what I mean? Just highlight, whatever you call it, whatever that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and it really still fits the natural tone of her face. I don't feel like it's nothing wrong with that. But however, when women start, well, what you call all that contour and contouring and all that old whatever you call it, that changes your look and changes your beauty, because that's what it speaks on. It speaks on to change the, you know what I mean, to change the actual beauty. I think that's definitely what they're talking about, and that's definitely, I mean, that's witchcraft. Just being realistic, like you got a woman that don't look nothing. I'm talking about nothing like what you met. You meet her somewhere and she got on all this makeup and all this stuff she made up and different stuff, and you think you have this beautiful, gorgeous woman that allured you, that attracted you. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, you see her the next day and you like, hey, or she meet up with you the next day with none of that on, and you be like, hey, where your friend that I met last night? Oh, that was me. You see what I'm saying? Like, that was you? Nah, that wasn't you. Where your friend that I met last night? Like, who sent you? Look, nothing alike. You see what I'm saying? So I think that is where it comes from. And if you even go back period of time, like you see a lot of other nations, like, in their culture, they will paint their face all the way white. You see what I'm saying? Like even in like a lot of Asian cultures and different stuff. And naturally they was a darker people. And they would paint their faces all the way white and say, the color of milk is pure. So that basically, like, that's why they bleach their faces and different stuff now. Even bleaching, I feel like, is a form of that. The whole makeup thing and all that is what they're talking about, the fallen angels, because remember, they were jealous of how beautiful Yah made us. And just like Hasatan was jealous of, all of them was jealous of the relationship that Yah made us in his image and likeness. You see what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
that's why they came down and they fornicated with women. Like they took the women. They did all these things against Yah. You see what I'm saying? What the first thing Hasatan do, or the devil do, when he was kicked out of heaven? He came down here to deceive Eve and Adam. You see what I'm saying? In the garden, they came down here to do all these things to humans, to offset the creation of Yah. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of
Mhm.
the day, yeah, they came down here, taught women makeup, how to make weapons, how to fornicate, how to do all these different things, wicked things that we're doing now. So I do believe that makeup has a big part of that, because if you look at majority of our sisters now, they're not even confident unless they have on makeup. They can't go to the gym, the store, uh, anywhere without it on, because they feel like their natural beauty is ugly. That's why, to the women who do rock their natural beauty with confidence, like every time I get a chance, I compliment them. Young sister in the gym the other day, I said, man, I see you got your hair out, man. I was like, that's a beautiful thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Keep it up. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like it is men, it is our duty to validate our women and give them that reassurance that they are daughters of the Most High and that they are beautiful naturally. Because a lot of this makeup and different stuff that they put on, let's just be real, they put it on to impress us, to try to get a man, or to look fine, to look like they stunning or whatever the case may be. But that's just what it is. So yes, I do believe that it is a part of that. But I don't see nothing wrong with, as long as you still look natural. Like, there's nothing wrong with, like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with, like, the highlighter or whatever. I don't know what all that stuff is called, but I'm talking about, like, just,
Yeah, don't get
just
into that too much because you finna mess it up already. Talk about
yeah.
a
Let's just
highlighter.
say, yeah. Let's just say to endure things that,
Concealer.
yeah, whatever you call it, whatever you call that stuff, whatever, you know what I mean?
You know, a highlighter is a marker, right?
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
But
See, that just goes to show how much I know about that. I don't rock with the makeup thing. Like, I love my wife. She doesn't. She's natural. You see what I'm saying? So she don't really. At a time, she did back in the day when we was dating and different stuff. And I used to always tell her she was beautiful, natural. But once we came into the knowledge of truth, she just left a lot of that stuff behind.
yeah. So I don't wear makeup often, but I have like scars on my face from my previous marriage or whatever. So I kind of like sometimes want to wear the makeup to cover the scars. But people say they can't see them, but I see them every day.
Yeah,
But
but I seen you with makeup on. You don't look different. You see what I'm saying? You still look like yourself. Like, you can't tell a difference. Like, a woman that don't look different. Like, you can't tell a difference when she got on makeup, when she don't have it on, whatever. I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about, like, these women. Like, you can't. It's so crazy now. Like, yeah, you can't even tell. They might be a man under it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about to where they change their entire face. I think that's wicked and demonic. I think that's totally demonic,
well,
honestly.
actually, okay. So when I don't never do a full beat, like a full face ever. I just
Yeah.
cover up the scars. Like I just put like a little concealer on my scars, so that's why I don't look different. And
Yeah.
then too, with the men, I think it's when they try to like the men putting the makeup on, it's for them to cover up their jaw lines and to cover up their foreheads and their masculine features.
Exactly.
And also with the eyelashes is to cover up those things, like not to show those manly features and to kind of like to give
I
them
can't stand them eyelashes. I'm just gonna say that.
right. So on my wedding day though, I had to get a 4B, but I told the lady make it as natural as possible because I don't want no fake. I didn't want to look fake or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think like, yeah, I think some things are like, it's everything is about discernment, like using discernment and having judgment around things. Because I think a lot of people, we take these things, and if you see somebody, like, let's say in this awakening, you see somebody putting on, it's they wedding and they putting on a little bit of makeup or whatever, and that might be what a husband desire. Oh no, that's we so quick just to call everything out as just wicked and sin and all that. Everything has to have. Now, there are some stuff that are blatant sin. That's blatant sin. You know what I mean? That goes without saying. I'm not saying that. Some things blatantly, like, the Most High tell you, stay away from this. It is what it is. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying around some things we have a very little understanding about. So we kind of like bang on the little small technicalities, when sometimes a lot of those small technicalities is like, yeah, that's out of context. Like, you're taking that out of context. So, like I said, I do believe that's what the fallen angels taught, but I don't think it was like, it definitely was like full face paint, like, because it talks about it goes into detail about changing their look, like totally changing how they look, changing their beauty. Like, so this was something that was literally completely changing the way they looked. You see what I'm saying? Even, I mean, you want to take it a step now, even surgeries changing the way they look. You know what I'm saying? Even face, what you call it? Um, when they get the facelift with the nose and all that old difference, all of that stuff. That's all completely changing the look. Even men changing to women, women changing to men. All of that is changing the look. I think all of that goes with that right there. All of it goes with. It's all in the same category.
When we come to this earth, right? Do you think we make a choice to come here?
That I don't know. I can't. That's beyond me right there. That's above my pay grade.
No, because they say, I'll be listening to all these different. This is more like esoteric spirituality. Has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the scripture, but they say that we make these contracts to come to Earth to have this human experience, and we choose our bodies, we choose our vehicles, and we choose the life that we have. But we forget.
I don't know about all that. I
That's
mean,
that. Is
yeah,
that
I don't
reach?
know. I don't know about that. I can hear you.
Yeah, is that
Hello.
reaching? Can you hear me?
I think that's reaching for sure. Cause we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. A lot of the esoteric knowledge, I mean, it's it's like it goes by feeling a lot. You know what I mean? And when you look at a lot of people in the esoteric world, it's always I feel, I think a lot. You hear a lot of that, like, and it's like, bro, what you feel and think don't make it doesn't make it true most of the time. You know what I'm saying? So there are some stuff in there I can be like, okay, I can see, yeah, and I can see the creator, the source in that, because let's just be real, all wisdom and understanding comes from the Most High, but a lot of it just been just been kind of tampered with by man is the word I'm looking for. Tampered with and all kind of crazy stuff. So I don't know too much about the esoteric, like, what they believe when it comes to that. So I'm just gonna
Mhm.
say that's above my pay grade. I I don't know what we choose. I don't know if we even have a choice in coming into this body or whatever. I wouldn't think so. You see what I'm saying? If we do, I mean, shoot, if that's the case, whoever could have chose me to be a millionaire. You see what I'm saying? Why did you choose me? Why did you choose me to go through this and that? You know what I mean? Like, or I mean, it don't make sense unless this is the only thing I would
It's
say.
a lesson to be learned, like you choose your lesson or your like it's a class, so you choosing your classes so you can reach to a higher level once you depart here.
Okay, this the only. I mean, life is a lesson, and so I
Mhm.
get what you're saying. We all have lessons and classes. Like I get that. Yah tests us and teaches us lessons all the time if we truly tuned in. I learn a lesson every day, all day, through conversations, through people, through watching other things, through things that I do wrong. It's always a teaching and a learning lesson. You see what I'm saying? Regardless, and Yah gives those lessons.
Mhm.
Now, the only exception I would make if there are certain messengers
Mhm.
who are sent here by Yah, who knows their mission. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? You have certain messengers. Sometimes we entertain angels unaware. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I do believe there are certain messengers here that
Mhm.
know their purpose and know why they're here, and that the Most High Creator choose to be here and choose to use as vessels. But
Mhm.
I don't believe that just everybody just, yeah, I'm gonna choose to go. Nah. That's contrary to even the source power creator. Because if you want to be really realistic and get to the nitty gritty, the bottom of it, when you think about it, he experiences through his creation. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, why would we choose here? No, he choose for us to be here. You see what I'm saying? That's my belief.
If you could, which I don't even like doing this, Lord God, forgive me, because I don't like it. But see, if you could choose which entity would best describe God, would it be the sun, frequency, or energy?
I would say, well, I would put frequency and energy kind of on the same level, but I would definitely say energy, because energy is what? Spirit, and God is a spirit. You see what I'm saying? So I would say energy is what is the one thing that, yeah, that describes him. But when you look at frequency, when you look at sun, when you look at all the other things, they do have characteristics and attributes of him. So that lets you know, if I mean, when you tapped in, you can look at all things, a lot of things, and see his attributes and characteristics if you truly know the Father. So that just proves that he's all living, he's all existing, he's in all living, his spirit dwells in all. So at the end of the day, like, you can see his attributes and everything, but I think energy, source energy, is what describes him the most, because we all are made of energy, which we all made of spirit. I didn't. I got a nail on my right tire, but I got a warranty with you guys. So, all right, bet. Sorry about that. I had to
It's
catch him.
okay, do you?
But but we're all energy, right? You know what I'm saying? We
Mhm.
are all energy, and we all made of energy. You know what I'm saying? Spirit, energy. I use those words interchangeably because I believe they one and the same. So we're all energy. So that would make the source
Mhm.
high, most high powers. That would make him the main source of energy because he created us from his energy and gave us his energy, his spirit. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we are all manifestations of him, of his creation. So that means we are all a part of his energy, if you will, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
When
Okay.
you
Interesting.
want to break it down in the form of energy, because he big energy. When people say big energy, that's big energy. That's the real big energy.
Right. So, if people can ask you, what proof do you have that God exists? What would you say?
You know what? I used to, try to prove people. I mean, honestly, just look at creation. Just look at how intelligent everything is. There is nothing random, like no random, accidental happening, whether it's a big bang or whatever. It can't be something random that create something so intelligent with so much purpose. Everything has a purpose, all the way to the trees was made to give off oxygen and plants and water for us to live. We have to drink water in order to live. We need sunlight, plants, everything. Everything has a function and a purpose, and it's intelligent. Everything is made intelligent. So at the end of the day, what random accident can cause something to be so intelligent? So that would imply, if we all are consciousness and we come from consciousness, that would mean that some universal or some supreme consciousness had to come into creation to create consciousness. You see what I'm saying? We have a conscience. So that means we was created from consciousness. So how can something random create that? That doesn't make sense to me. That's like me just randomly waking up one day out of nowhere and just like, I'm just this intelligent being. Like, no, something had to create me. Just like my mother and father came together and act, an actual act, a spark or whatever, sperm, whatever, brought me into this realm. Everything works so intelligently. It's not random. You got men making cars and vehicles. I'm looking at mountains and all kind of stuff right now. None of this stuff is random. So I always try to explain to people that, but you have people who still don't believe. So for me, I say those who have eyes to see, let them see. Those who have ears to hear,
Let them hear,
let
Lord
them hear.
Jesus.
Hold on one second. Yeah, what'd you say? Yeah, front driver. I came from the dealership and they said it had a nail in there, so I just brought it straight to y'all. It's not leaking or nothing. I just brought it straight to y'all.
I'll put him on mute while he handle his business, y'all. Um, but I put you on mute so you can talk to the people.
Sorry
I'm
about
sorry.
that. Yeah, I'm
No, but
back.
we could since you got things that you have to do, and I see you kind of busy, and we've been on here for almost 2 hours, even though I didn't touch on a couple of things.
Nah, go
Um,
ahead. We good. All right, they gonna be fixing the
we,
tire for a minute.
we good? Okay, so let me get back to my questions because this is oh, I want to talk to you Where did white people come from? And take the stage because I have to go. Take me a 2 sec. Give me about 3 seconds, but take the stage for a second. But where do you think white people came from?
Now that's the one thing I would say. I kind of got my own theory, so it's just it's one of those things. Um, I'll start three places. First, I'll start when you go to the scriptures. You have three brothers. You have Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So it talks about Japheth lineage pretty much going into Rome, Europe, all these places where you see a lot of Europeans came from. So, but we do know if you look back in history, those places were heavily populated by black people first and foremost. So I do believe that his offspring were dark melanated people. And over a period of time, um, just being in cold environment, being off in the mountains, you know, that particular region going through the ice age and everything else, I do believe that genetic um, mutation, they became genetically recessive or recessive gene because there are certain, scientific backings and different stuff that do show that a lot of Europeans, specifically from that particular region only, do have African blood or quote unquote melanated blood somewhere down the line. So I think that that's one group of white people. I think another group did come from albinoism. Even if you look at the scriptures, people who had leprosy and certain things, they was kind of casted out of the camp or the assembly and sent out. So I do think albinoism was another factor because there was a time, when people came out as albinos and different stuff, or if they had leprosy, it was kind of looked upon as a curse or a sin. So I do believe, like, over a course of time, again, which goes back to a recessive gene. Now, I think that that's one group of white people. Now, however, science has proven that there is a group of white people that don't have absolutely no African blood, just pure white race. It is that, believe it or not, they are out there. Um, I believe those are the ones who can't take the sun, can't take just natural nature or whatever the case may be. But just my belief is that this people came from somewhere else. I'm not gonna get into all of that because I don't really know if that's the truth or not. But there have been some things that I've been studying and currently studying, that there is a particular race of people that pretty much came out of nowhere, and I'm not gonna get too deep into that right now because I don't know how I really don't have no factual information to back that, but just certain stuff I've been reading here and there, and just certain stuff on my spirit. I do believe that you have a group of Europeans that are not from this realm. You know what I mean? I believe, or they are seeds of you know who. You see what I'm
No,
saying?
we're
So
gonna we're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave
we
that.
just look, yeah, I'm believe that you know who. So I'm not gonna go too deep on that. And I'm only talking about a particular group of Europeans. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about all of them. I do believe that some of them, you know, at a time did come from us, and I believe that a lot of them came nowhere from us. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't have
Okay.
actual facts to back a lot of these different statements, but you know, one day we'll get there because those are things I'm studying right now.
Okay. Okay. Um. Let's see. And the next one, I want to show you something. Hold on. Let me. Can you see? Can you see on your phone?
I can
I
see.
have never. Usually I share screen, but I haven't shared no screens yet. But I want to talk about this. Hold on. Let me just. Hold on. Let me find it real quick. Real quick. Real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find this particular map. They call it the 12 devils. I don't know that. The 12 devils graveyards. I don't know. Let me see. Give me a second. All right, here you go. This is the one I want, right? I'm gonna share this screen here. Give me a second. You see that?
Yeah, let me blow it up. Yeah, I see that. That's interesting.
Okay. So scientists may have solved the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, is what they're saying. But so you see that there's 12 triangles, right?
Mm-hmm.
These all are considered similar to the Bermuda Triangle. And so my hypothesis is that these are the 12 gates of heaven. Because why is there 12?
Mm-hmm.
What you think about that?
I mean, hey, that could be of a truth. Um, I mean, I know you do. I do believe in stargates and portals.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
Are you there? What happened? Oh, you muted your mic. You muted your mic. Wait a minute. You muted your mic, cousin.
It's
What you
muted. I'm muted. Hello.
Yeah, was you talking to me or you was talking to them?
I was talking. I'm done. They said my tire's good, so I'm about to pull off. I was just checking my tires. But nah, go ahead.
Yeah, so let me see. Let me go on and I ain't never really went to this website. Let me just go on and see what they talking about real quick. So this is Lab Roots. It says scientists may have solved the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, was stumped for scientists for decades. Meteorologists behind the findings has issued a statement following these reports suggesting that the microburst alone probably aren't responsible for the disappearance of many ships and planes in the region. The Bermuda Triangle remains a very mysterious location, and it's hard to say for sure what's caused all of these unexplained disappearances. But there are about like 12 of them across the globe. There, the world's it says how many does it say? 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 10 of them, they say. 10 vortexes, but I think it's more than 10.
I know for sure they have one in Arizona.
Oh, really? What did they call it? Wait, let me see.
They have a vortex in Sedona, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And they have, I used to hear this a lot about Arizona, that they have like stargates and portals out here. I believe it then, because that's back when I was in prison out here, and I remember, one of my elder bros was like telling me about that, and I was like, I was into a lot of deep stuff then, you know what I mean? So I was like, I believed it, but one night I was out here hiking. This was like a couple months ago when they had the super moon out here, with the super moon, and I was hiking at night, and I noticed there was a lot of stuff going on in the sky, and I saw a line. It was like a beeline. And first I thought it was planes, but I'm like, nah, planes don't drive that slow. Them things is floating right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know. And I saw them. I'm like, oh, those are celestial beings. I know what those are. Like, I know exactly what they are because I felt the energy. And I seen them disappear into a portal one by one. And, um, afterwards, I just felt the energy. Like, I was like, but I also felt like a calmness. So I knew, like, as a child of the Most High, you know what's what when you see it. You know what I'm saying? And then I looked up and I saw how they was flying in a single file line. The first thing I heard was alignment. I was like, alignment. And I just looked at it as a sign for me to get into alignment and whatnot. So I continued my hike and went to the hot top of the mountain, and I just felt that energy, that high energy going on in the heavens, in the sky, and I was led to worship. Now I knew I wasn't tripping because everybody else seen it too that was up there hiking. It was a group of young, Hispanic kids. They was like, wow, wow, look. And then somebody else that was coming down the hike was like, "Man, did y'all see that?" So we all saw it. So I knew for sure I wasn't tripping. But it goes to prove I ended up researching Arizona where I live at, and they say this is the place where it has the most sightings because it's a high energetic field. And this is, they say the energetic field here is the same as the Bermuda Triangle, basically. So I was like, So when you brought up the Bermuda Triangle, I'm like, that's crazy. So we know, again, we were talking about energy earlier, spirit. That's why you come out here to Arizona, you see people, they on a high, whatever, spirituality, you know what I mean? With the whole, everybody out here think they spiritual, but it does have a high magnetic field out here when it comes to energy. I mean, I feel it every day. I'm always in the mountains hiking, I'm praying, I'm meditating, I'm tapping in while I'm out here. Certain places they have that, like they have a vortex out here. If you go and you meditate there, like it is believed to bring healing. You got a lot of healing herbs, all type of different stuff out here. So I do believe that this uh is something specific about this land and other lands close and similar to here. When it comes to that, hence the reason why you go not too far, which is New Mexico. They got Area 51. Why else would they have Area 51 there? Because this is the area where the most sightings, UFO, what they call UFO sightings, are. So when it comes to stargates and portals and all of that, I do believe that Arizona, New Mexico, this area, this region, I do believe that there are a few of them out here for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that when they say when they talk about heaven, do you think that heaven is a state of mind, or heaven is up in the clouds, or where do you think heaven is located?
So whenever Yah speaks, when the scriptures and it's throughout the scriptures, it's like a what you call it, a double entendre. Like he was the first real lyricist that was spitting double entendres. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be real, he's a multi-dimensional being, so he's never speaking on just one dimension. So one, I do believe heaven is in the mind, which is the kingdom, the garden. I do believe even the garden, all those things are in the mind. You see what I'm saying? Like I say, through meditation, and when I was in my prayer with Yah the other day, he took me into that garden, into that place in my mind where he dwells, because he dwells within us. But even he hides himself, he's hidden because we're not easily just to have access to him like that. So when it said that, you know, Adam and Eve was kicked out, or Adam and Chawah was kicked out of the garden, and an angel or a messenger was set at the end of the garden with a fiery sword to guard that place. I mean, that's just as well as the place is being guarded in our mind until we're able to enter through that door, that portal, Yahusha, Hamashiach, the Son of God, and be able to enter into that door to enter into that kingdom that's in our mind. That's one place, I believe. The other place he speaks of, like when you read Enoch and you read these different books, the Shamayim, which is the Hebrew word for heavens, it's the skies above. And it's not only the skies above, because Ma'im means water. You see what I'm saying? So Ma'im means water, so Shamayim will be the water above. That's why it talks about the firmament that separated the waters from the waters. So that's why I don't believe that anybody can just go into that realm. And that's why I believe there is a firmament. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the Shamayim, or the heavens, is another dimension that's above this realm. Because if you read the book of Enoch, it describes the different levels of heaven. The higher you go, you know, those levels, and that main heaven, which is the highest level, is where the Most High dwells upon his throne. So I do believe that there is a realm that's much above this realm, but it's not all that in the clouds and in the sky and how people picture it, and that's some fairy tale religious man-made concept of what heaven is. That's not, heaven is not in the clouds in the sky. It's literally a whole completely different realm that's above this realm that we dwell in. That's why he gave us dominion over the earth. He built a firmament to separate, and then put what, it's so much that we have to, if man wanted to go to that dimension, it's so much that they would have to do. You can't get there. So that's why it's separate. He separated, you know, everything, the light from darkness. This it's a separation. So at the end of the day, I do believe that it is a realm above us But it's not like this, how everybody look at it like, oh, in the sky and the clouds and, looking down upon us and all this old different stuff. That you don't really see that nowhere in the scriptures. That's a lot of stuff that was taught in church and a lot of stuff that was taught just like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all these other fairy tales that was taught. But the reality of it is, I believe it's a place of the mind, and it is a realm of existence, a realm where Yah dwells, where we're not able to dwell. You see what I'm saying? That realm from which He came, like that first, whatever you want to call it, that first self-existing one, wherever that energy or that form of consciousness dwells, is beyond this realm, and that's why we have to connect. When we connect and we have access to that realm, is by us connecting to Him through our consciousness, through our mind. You see what I'm saying? Because everything starts in the mind. That's why all through the scripts, be renewed by the transforming of your mind, purge your consciousness. All these, it goes back to the mind. So I do believe that it's both. I believe that it's both. And watch this. It's wherever you go if you have the kingdom within you. It's here on the physical kingdom is going to be here in this realm. No one, it don't say no one is going to die and go to heaven. This, that, it say there will be a renewed kingdom on a renewed earth, like right here. This is where people would enter the kingdom. We will have renewed bodies. It talks about all that. It don't talk about dying and going into the clouds and having wings and having a halo around your head. It don't talk about none of that. It talks about a renewed earth. And until that, our spirits or our energy will be in a holding cell called Sheol. You see what I'm saying? It's a judgment day. And during that judgment, okay, do I get rid of this low vibrational energy? This low vibrational energy right here is going to be destroyed, cast into Gehenna, the lake of fire. And this energy are these spirits that have been cleansed, that have been renewed, that's vibrating on a high enough frequency to dwell with me within my kingdom. That's the energy those are the spirits or people that will be saved. You see what I'm saying? I use all those words for the three different type of people that need to understand it. People who understand energy, people who understand spiritual things, and people who understand physical pictures. So for those in awakening, they hear you say stuff. Those in this Israelite community, they hear you say stuff like that and be like, see, he's on some, like unable to perceive. So, just to clarify that.
Okay. We were talking about emotional intelligence, self-reflection, appreciation, all those type of things. I do want to say that people need to be self-reflecting all the time.
24/7. 24/7 self-reflection. We do need to be self-reflecting all the time on things we said, things we done, our thoughts, things that are our feelings, our emotions. Like self-reflection is key to growth at the end of the day. Because if we're not self-reflecting, guess what? We go deflect. And then we deflect and we put things on others and then we blame others and we never give ourselves a chance to grow. So I 100% agree with that. 100%.
What do you think about the Israelite camps and stuff like that?
The camps, I haven't had an experience with all of them, so I can't speak on all camps. But for the most part, the ones I've encountered and the ones that I've watched closely and the ones that I continuously see over and over, it's the same narrative over and over and over and over. If I was to describe them in the days of the scripture, which are still the days of now, most of them operate as Pharisees. I'm just gonna keep it 100%. Most of them operate as Pharisees, and they have a lot of them do have a very solid understanding when it come to scripture and the laws and all these things. But again, the reason why I say they operate as Pharisees because they focus on the knowledge part of it and the information, but they don't do the true work to really be humble and come into the spiritual understanding. You see what I'm saying? And you can tell by their works, their actions, their attitudes, how they treat others, how they talk to people, how they carry themselves. Like it's just such a. They remind me of me when I was from Insane Crip. You know what I mean? And when I was gang banging, they remind it's the same energy. So I was there before. I understand that energy. I recognize that energy. It's a familiar spirit. You see what I'm saying? So when I see it, I know what it is. When I'm around them, I know when I see lust. I know when I see all these different things. Versus when I'm around people who don't operate in those camps, they might operate in assemblies and gather with certain peoples, and they have elders and they have certain order, and they truly are submitted and humbling themselves. And spiritually, it's a whole different energy. It's two different energies from spiritual Israel and the rest of Israel. It's two completely different energies. They don't even vibe the same. And I feel that when I'm around a lot of the dudes in the camp, because they continue to make Yah really a reproach. A lot of them haven't healed. I know we come into this knowledge of truth and we kind of get mad. The first thing we do is get angry at the white man and at the system, and we it's kind of like a shock, and they kind of stay there. A lot of them are, you know, a lot of them teaching hate and just different stuff. And I hear a lot of horror stories. You know, I mean, just even the way they treat our sisters, like the way they treat our sisters and the way they treat the women, like these things are not Yali. You see what I'm saying? These things are a reproach to Yah. Like he hates these things, a lot of things that they do. Discord amongst the brethren. And I'm not speaking of all camps, but there are some specific ones. I gave a word of correction to somebody, and I'm not the type of person that give words of correction. But when the Ruach asks me to move, when Yah asks me to move, I have to be obedient. So I was being obedient, giving a word of correction, and it was out of love. I wasn't just doing respectful. And here this man, a camp leader who leads a whole entire camp, called me, and I don't cuss, excuse my language, but I'm gonna repeat what he said. Called me a BTI, a bitch ass N word. You see what I'm saying? Called me a BAN, and I'm like, nobody who has the spirit of the Most High Yah in them is about to resort to that. You see what I'm saying? I don't care how mad you make me. I'll walk away. I'm not gonna lose my cool. If those type of things, if that type of ugliness is still in you and that type of filth is still in you, it just goes to prove that you haven't did the work. So a lot of us come into the knowledge of truth and we join these camps and we become teachers and mores and pastors or whatnot, and we haven't even did the work yet. We just got information, so we qualify ourselves to teach because we learned something, but we haven't even did the work to become who is required to teach or be a moray or an elder or any of those things, because it's Yah who chooses. It's not us who just get up and say, you know what, I learned this and I'm about to start a camp and a ministry. No, it's Yah who teaches, who chooses us. And 9 times out of 10, I say 10 times out of 10, you know, just like I know, when the Most High have a calling on our life, we go spend majority of the time running from it. You see what I'm saying? And denying it. And like, I'm not ready, and I'm not ready, I'm unqualified. It's gonna be that type of energy majority of the time, and then the Most High is gonna have to whoop us and get us in shape and get us together and lead us on that journey. It's never me coming into a bunch of knowledge and then puffing myself up with pride and saying I'm gonna start this movement or I'm gonna start this and getting me and my brothers, we about to go out here on the corner and we about to yell at these folks and we about to do whatever and we about to do this and we about to do that. Who told you to do that? You see what I'm saying? Who told you to do that? Was you sent? Absolutely not. We send ourselves. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times we make Yah a reproach because our people see that, who are looking for truth, and they be like, dang, I want to follow Yah and I want to know the truth, but if that's how it look and that's what they preaching, I'm good. Because I hear this all the time. Or women be like, they totally just throw away the whole scripture, the whole belief, because they enter into a camp and they done got sexually assaulted, or they done got disrespected, or they done got treated like slaves, or they done got deceived. You see what I'm saying? Abusive men, drunken, using the feast, using Yah's feast days as an excuse to not drink, but to absolutely get drunk and Again, the multiple wives doctrine, like we was talking about earlier, because they in lust and fornication. So every woman that comes to this, oh, you got to marry me, you gonna be my wife. Now they got 4 or 5 wives, and that's not even supposed to be their wives. It's a mess. It's a mess, and they think because they keeping the laws and commandments, like the written law and commandment, that they keeping Shabbats and they keeping feast days and they following and they know all the laws, because they not really keeping all. They know all of them and all of this, that makes them righteous. So they count that for their righteousness. But no, just like Yahusha said, the outside of the cup is dirty, but the inside is clean. I think in the outside of the cup, the inside of the cup is dirty, but the outside is clean. So you looking like you righteous because you talking and talking the talk and you know the commandments and you keeping feast days, but it's darkness in you. You keeping the feast days, but you dead drunk and you lusting over your Okoti over there, looking at her with lust in your eyes, and you got an evil eye towards your brother over there because he might be courting a certain Okoti to to get married or whatever the case may be. It's all this wicked stuff. So it's just wickedness, it's foolishness, and within a lot of majority of these camps, there's a bunch of foolishness. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, how are you serving Yah? How are you representing Him? How are you a representative of the kingdom where you're not even walking in true kingdomship? You're not humbling yourself. You're not being. How are you being a light to the nations when you speaking nothing but darkness and wickedness and evil? Come on, man. Like, so that's just my take on a lot of these camps. I'm not saying all. And I've ran across some brothers who are in those camps who, they got the right mindset or whatnot or whatever. And I even pray for them. But I'm saying for the most part, majority, when you think about the camps, you think about the same ones, because there's a few that are very popular and got the numbers and all that, and they make a complete fool out of the entire awakening. I mean, they even on down to the dress code. Like, I'm like, serious, like, bro, y'all on the corner looking like King Arthur and the Knights at the Round, like Power Rangers and all this old crazy stuff, and you think that make you righteous? Like, that is ridiculous. Our ancestors didn't even dress like that, bro. That type of clothing that's more European than the stuff than the stuff they sell in the stores. You see what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Like, so at the end of the day, I think a lot of our brothers are lost in that because we look for identity and we suffer an identity crisis. So we want to be a part of something more than we really want to be a part of Yah. We're not really truly desiring to connect to the Most High. We're not truly desiring to connect to the source. We want a brotherhood. We want to be a part of something, just like gang banging. So the problem with the awakening is that we esteem and glorify being an Israelite more than we esteem and glorify the Father. You see what I'm saying? That's why when I told you the other day, I care more about the Creator and the Father and following the Son more than I do about being an actual Israelite. And what I mean by that is that's my priority first. My priority first is Yah, the Father. You see what I'm saying? That's my first priority. My priority, I'm not putting the awakening over Yah. I'm putting Yah over the awakening, and that's the problem. People are not building personal relationships with the Father. People are not humbling themselves. They're not having intimacy with the Father, an intimate relationship. You see what I'm saying? They focus on, oh, me and my oxen, yeah, we about to go up and we about to go out here and we about to condemn everybody else and we about to show everybody else that they in sin and iniquity because they not following the laws and you not following the laws, so you going to hell. Like, come on, bro, that's not what good is that serving? You supposed to be following the Son. He said, follow me. He wasn't around there just acting crazy and on corners acting a fool. You see what I'm saying? Like, and don't get me wrong, big up and highest praises to the Most High for those who are on them corners preaching the word of Yah with pure intent and pure hearts. Like, yeah, and even those who are not in pure intent and pure heart, because at least the word is still getting out there and they still being used, because Yah can use you. He even can use the wicked. But what I'm saying is, the heart behind it, the intentions behind it, and everything else is just a mess because people are not doing the work to make their own hearts clean And throughout the whole awakening, everybody is pointing the finger at everybody else. You're doing this, or you're not doing this right. You're evil. You're wicked. See, he said this, or see this and that. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of the camps, it's a lot of discord. I mean, you got camps that's beefing with each other and going at each other like they gangs. Like we all supposed to be Israel. We are even more so. Most of us are all supposed to be Judah. We are brothers and cousins and family, and y'all going at each other because you got this doctrine and you got this doctrine, or you don't like this camp because this camp you think they bit your style, and it's like we beefing. What is this? The Crips and Bloods, gangbangers, folks, GDs, vice lords, like y'all bringing that same energy because when you look at most of these brothers, that's where they came from anyway. They came from the streets, the ghettos, gangs. So they carry the same gangbang mentality. Why? Because they're not truly repenting. They're not truly confessing their sins unto the Father and truly repenting and becoming renewed. They're not allowing themselves to go to that through that process to become renewed beings, to renew their mind, to really go through this process. All they care about is keeping the feast and Shabbat so they can go get drunk and party with their ox. And it's a bunch of beastly, unruly, acting like heathens. That's just what real. That's just what it is.
Right.
I know that's gonna ruffle some feathers, but hopefully it pulls it. Hopefully it pulls someone out of the fire, and that they see, and that they have eyes to see, and that they go into and that this is a call for repentance, correction, and repentance, and not a shot at y'all. You see what I'm saying? Because my desire is that no one perish, because that's God's desire. So what I'm saying is that we really, as a whole, need to really check our hearts and work on our hearts and forget all the aesthetics of it, forget all the bells and whistles and all that. We have to align our hearts with Yah, and that's what it is.
Yeah, it gets deep because I hear people they be going deep into it, and I'll be like, wow, I understand, but the camaraderie about it, and us being unified as a nation, a people, but it's just certain things that I just wouldn't do. I don't care who you are. I'm checking backgrounds. I'm looking you up. I'm trying to see if this is safe. I don't know you. You don't know me. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And sometimes people will just, go above and beyond and they don't do no background checks. They don't look into the person, you know what I'm saying? Try to see, shoot they don't separate the wheat from the tear. And the Bible say prove a friend.
Facts.
And they not proving nobody. They just going by their following because sometimes people just get following because they pay for follows. I'm not paying for no follows. All my
Absolutely.
organic. You know what I mean? People pay for follows and it look like they got like this following. People pay for bots on this social media. Social media got people tricked.
Yeah, social media got a lot of people tricked. It's crazy. Like that's just what it is. Like social media is woo. It can be a positive platform if you use it correctly, but for the most part, majority of the masses they trick, they fool, they like blind following the blind. I see it every day. We following. That's what happens when you're not led by the spirit, though. Again, we following the flesh. We following what we see. Like, oh, he got a bunch of followers. Or I like this person. Or I like the way they dress. I like the way they look. Or I like the way they talk. And it's like it's very vain reasons why we just fall into the silliest traps. And the enemy know. The enemy know what we what to play on us with. He know what to dangle before our eyes to get us to follow. So that's why at all times we got to be walking in what spirit and truth. Not just truth, not just spirit. One without the other is not. That's why I say spirit and truth, and both the two. You see, so you can know truth and not have a spirit, and you just know truth. You're not. That's what a lot of the camps are. They know truth, but they don't have a spirit. But then you have people who are, they want to be spiritual, but they don't know truth, so they're able to be deceived by familiar spirits or by any other spirit, and they get to follow on all kind of other spiritual stuff. So you have to walk it in spirit and truth to be truly following the Most High Yah.
Hmm. And another thing too, like because I used to be one of those people that, and I'm not saying like about the validation. Well, yes, I was seeking validation. I ain't gonna even lie. Like in my heart, though, in my heart of hearts, right, I wanted this truth to come out. I wanted God, whatever revelation the Most High put in me, I put it on the platform. I've been doing my platform for years, years. I don't have like a billion followers. My numbers ain't 100%. And so it was like times where I would put some information out, and like a day or two, maybe 3 days later, you have a big time person putting out the same information, right? And it used to irk my nerve because I know that they're saying my words verbatim, right? And I'm like, dang, they ain't gonna even credit me for my stuff. And then the Most High came to me and say, sit your butt down because these are my words, not yours.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and so I had to humble myself and say, you know what? Regardless of me getting credit or regardless of me being having any kind of notability, it's my duty. It's my goal to put these words out into the atmosphere. As soon as it hit me, I gotta put it out there because this is God's word. These ain't my words. Even my music ain't my words. I don't care if it's getting traction or not. If God tell me to put it on paper, put it on paper. If He tell me to put it out there, I'm putting it out there. And as long as I am faithful, honest servant to the Most High, Yah, then I have done what I was supposed to do.
Absolutely.
And I think that a lot of us need to get away from this trying to be validated from people.
Absolutely. 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 That's 100. Because, like you say, these are not our words. You know what I mean? Like it's not our work we're doing. Like we're here to do a work, and we're here to spread the light and to teach others. So if I say something, or if me and you have a conversation, and then I see you, use it as a topic on your platform, or I see you spin it on Facebook, I'm gonna say hallelujah, praise the Most High. Like it's it's His work being done. It's still His work being done. Because at the end of the day, like I can reach people that you can't reach. You can reach people that I can't reach. It's just certain people that's gonna gravitate towards certain people. So it's like that's why we need more workers. You know what I mean?
Right,
You know,
right,
the
right.
harvest is plenty. You see what I'm saying? So workers are few. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like we just need we need more people to really truly humble themselves and be willing to do the work. But first, the work is the inner work. Because if we don't do the inner work, there's no other outer work we can do. We can't be helping others and being a light to others, and we don't even have a light turned on inside of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And see, me and money don't have a good relationship. So this thing that I'm doing right now is not based off of financial gain. You know what I mean? I'm not a lover of money, or I'm not a money chaser. I mean, not saying that I don't need money to survive in this world of Caesar, but I'm saying that I'm not interested in those type of things. So I have to sometimes check myself. This is where the self-reflection come in because it's a lot of people out here that's spilling out all these doctrines and stuff like that, and just to get views, just to get clicks, just to get likes. And then you have real people that's seeking truth, that's seeking something in their life, and you misguiding these people. And I'm here to tell you right now, if you've been watching or listening, your day is going to come when you misguide these people. You're going to have to answer for that. And even though I follow y'all, every messed up thing that I do, I have to answer for it.
Absolutely, absolutely have to answer to it. Oh man, that's woo. And
I can't get past it. Like sometimes my karma come right away. Like, oh well, maybe I'll say I'll probably cut my husband out or something, and then I'll hit my head on the cabinet. Like, damn, I should have did that. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you something too. Like, remember that week when we was actually supposed to do the interview, and I was like, cousin, I can't even do it this week. Like, I gotta, like, I had, like, y'all was stumping me out that week because of something I did that I thought was small. You see what I'm saying? And like, that was a week of me just in supplication and repentance and different stuff because he was literally stomping me out, and I had to really humble myself. And so I was fasting and consecrating during that week and just really seeking Him. And I thought it was the smallest thing I had done, but like you said, when you know better, to whom much is given, much is required. So for us that know better, when we do things, it's 10 times worse. So for the leaders and different stuff who have the information and who come into the knowledge of the Most High, and you leading others wrong, woo, that fall is gonna be so hard because it's the picture of Hasatan leading a third of the angels out of the heavens. You see what I'm saying? And what was that? That was pride. It was pride that made him fall, and the other angels follow. You know what I mean? And that's why even when you read the book of Enoch, it says that those put all the fallen angels are locked up, but they locked up the main ones, and they said that those ones would be preserved for the worst punishment. You know why? Because they knew better. They was with Yah in the heavens, and they came down here and still chose to do wicked. So it's no different from us in this realm who comes into the knowledge of Yah, and we know Yah, and we choose to mislead people, misguide people, use people, have our own filthy desires, greed, lust, whatever it is. It's 10 times worse because we have to answer. And we might think we're getting away with it because we're not answering to it immediately. Guess what? That's even worse. If y'all haven't brought it to your attention, like right then and there, it's even worse because he's allowing you to build up the iniquity. So when you get judged, it's going to be, woo, it's going to be scary. You see what I'm saying?
It's gonna be because I'm like, oh, because that's why I had to say, oh, is this something I could have done different to weather a different outcome? Because I try to be, I try to be humble. A lot of people think I'm arrogant though, but I'm just confident in who I am. Regardless of what nobody think, I'm confident. I have experiences, and I'm like, oh God, Lord, and I try to tell people things that the Most High revealed to me, and they reject it, and they go and do whatever the opposite, and then they, then it's up on them. But my only goal here is to whatever comes to my mind, because it's like lightning bolts. It's like lightning bolts for me, and it just be right into my head. I'm like, oh, where this come from? Okay, let me tell you what this is coming from. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you want to call it prophetic or I'm a prophetess or whatever you want to call it, but I have those visions, and it's like I see the vision, like I see it in my mind, like a movie, like right in real time, and I'm like, okay, this is what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
And then it gets rejected, and then it's like I'm being arrogant. No, I'm not being arrogant. I'm just doing the duty that the Most High sent me to do. Now you can accept it or reject it. We don't have to argue about it. I'm just telling you this, and this is what was revealed to me. You feel me? And we did a show last night about shooting the messenger. It was a little different. It was mostly about relationships and stuff like that, but the messenger can be prosecuted and will be prosecuted. No, let me stop saying prosecuted. Persecuted. Every time.
Every time. Every time.
But I'm not gonna hold you up too much longer, brother, cousin. Brother, cousin.
Same difference. Hey, no, that's crazy though, because that is kind of like the same difference. Because back in the day, we didn't really there's really no word for cousin in the scripts. Like everybody that was related was brothers and sisters.
Right.
That's where Ahki and Ahki come from. There's no word for cousin, but you got an Ahki and you got an Ahki. So even cousins was considered as brothers and sisters. If that makes sense.
Right. And then I try to tell people too, like this is a little bit off topic, right? But not too many people know that like your first cousins is your children's uncles and aunties. But not too many people know that. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I'm your auntie, whatever. Their children, like my first cousin children, I'm their auntie. For
Absolutely.
Real. No, that's the original setup. But anyways, any final thoughts? Because we've been on here for 2 hours and 30 minutes, and I would go another 2 hours and 30 minutes with you. We're gonna have to do this again.
We definitely got to do this again. I would go another 2 hours and 30 minutes too, but I got to get home to the wife and the daughter because I got to take her somewhere. So we definitely gonna do this again. But now my final thoughts is just that really for any listeners, for all the listeners out there, anything you hear even if it resonates with your spirit. Some things you hear, they just resonate with your spirit, and you just know this is the truth. But I say, like, always do your own research, your own praying, build your own relationship with the Father, um, and that's where majority of your revelation will come from. And when you align yourself, like when you do tune into stuff like this, you'll recognize when you're actually getting the answer to something. Because a lot of times we look at stuff and we can be like, but if you truly praying and seeking the Father, like, it'll be platforms like this where you will get answers to whatever questions you have, because Yah does work through people, especially when His Spirit is really moving. So I'll say, like, just my final thoughts is to really build that relationship with the Father, an intimate relationship, like up your praying and your supplication and truly talking to Him, and what I'm saying, being vulnerable before Him, because it's going to teach you how to be vulnerable in your other relationships and with those people around you. And it's going to also teach you to be sensitive to different spirits and energies when you know people are, wolves in sheep's clothing. So I just say that seek Yah while He can be found, because there is a lot of stuff that's about to hit this earth soon. Not saying that we worry about these things, but you want to be in alignment with the source so that you're able to be sensitive to His Spirit when He say go left, go right, move here, leave your city, go here, go there, go gather water, go do whatever you need to do. Whatever specific instructions, stay in the house today, don't go outside today. And next thing you know, it's a mass shooting at, I don't know, your job or the store you're going to go to. It's just really time for us to really clamp down, eliminate all the distractions, all these silly distractions that are going on in the world, all of this gossip and all of this back and forth stuff. Separate from people who are bringing drama and foolishness, and with all that, just seek your relationship with the Father, align yourself with the Father, and really start doing that inner work to make yourself clean, to work on your heart. Forgive, let go of those traumas, let go of these things, deny not. You know what I mean? When people tell you that you operating, you being jealous right now, you being this, even if you think they lying, go to your Father and say, is this of a truth? Because these are things I don't want in my heart. And that's where that inner work really starts. Stop focusing on others, pointing the finger at others, and focus on self in this season, so that you can align yourself with the Most High, so that we can endure through these times to come.
Perfectly said. I want to thank you for coming out. You guys, where could they find you at? Like, if I know you're in Arizona and I know you do your physical training, where can people find you at? Let us know where they can find you at, and if you need to be reached or whatnot.
Okay, so my Facebook, it's already long. You know what I mean? If I don't know if you want to put it in the description, Coach
Right, I can
Ahki.
make a banner of it. How you
Okay,
spell it?
Coach Ahki. So COACH, Coach.
Mm,
Ahki,
mm,
AKHI.
mm.
Um,
AKHI. I spelled it wrong on the thing.
no, my bad. AHKI.
Mm.
Um, Spiritual Calisthenics at Facebook. But an easier one is I just restarted my Instagram. I deleted my old Instagram, so I have a
I'm
new
just gonna
Instagram.
put Coach Ahki. Y'all look up Coach Ahki. I know it ain't no more Coach Ahki's on
Yeah. Look
Facebook.
up Coach Ahki. But on Instagram, you can find me at FTL.
Mm.
I just started it, so let me go to it because I got a new page. FTL_wellness. So FTL underscore wellness is where you can find me on Instagram. And I'm in the Tucson, Arizona area. So if anybody's in the Arizona area and you're looking for a personal trainer, a wellness coach, a health coach, um, or just somebody to tap in with, feel free to tap in with me. And yeah, those are the platforms where you can definitely find me.
Okay, so let me just get my final thoughts. I am so grateful for you coming onto the platform. You guys go look him up. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this live.
Oh, no
Um,
doubt.
to Meika Wash, MEikaAWASH, on all social media platforms. Also, like and subscribe to Paradigm Shift, the whole effing show. That's I think it's the whole effing with the F apostrophe in. look up Craig and Craig Law Firm, the Lake of Fire. There's some great interviews there, and I just feel like all my work is like coming full circle. I don't never know what's going to happen with these interviews, but it's just like everything is connected. And I just want to thank the Most High and give all praises to the Most High for these shows that's coming like this full circle. And I'm Meika Wash. This is Mouth Off with Meika. And we're out of here.
Shalom.
Show who you are. Good riddance. Is you kidding? Bid the forbidden. As it was written, you overbid it. With the heathens, karma is a bitch, so how you living? Pray for my enemies, unforgiven. Cast the pearls on hog moms and chitlin'. If it's too hot, get your ass out the kitchen. Finger licking good, good looking. Stewing in the stew, I'm cooking. You psyched out, paranoid and shookin'. Shook the table, fades, I'm booking. Get prepared for this ass whooping. Listen to the words being spoken. You were talking, I'm awake and woken. While I'm spitting this, got your spit, got choking. Era up, a glance in my world, eyes shut open. Parallel in my mind, I'm chosen. Reverse the time, heart frozen. Antarctica, cold as ice. Casting lots, rolling dice. Mean as nails, I'm nothing nice. They persecuted me like they rejected Christ. And show who you are. Good riddance. Is you kidding? Bid the forbidden. As it was written, with the heathens. Casting pearls on hog moms and chitlins. Sloth, love, gluttony, pride, wrath, and envy. On my neck, literally. 7 deadly sins constantly. So now I gotta take this shit personally. I have no respect of personality. If you ain't with me, then you against me. Mother Nature, but I got allergies, allergic to bullshit. It's my pedigree to some degree. But I open vision is 4D, portrait focused panoramic.